My child, stop for a moment and listen carefully. This message is not random, and it is not meant for just anyone. It is meant for you. There is something your heart has been carrying for far too long. Something heavy, something quiet, something that has followed you through days and nights even when you tried to move on. And today, I am speaking directly into that place inside you. Do not rush away from this moment. Stay here. Let every word reach the parts of your heart you rarely show anyone. Because before this message ends, you will hear something you may have waited years to hear. Something that can lift the weight you thought you had to carry forever. So stay with me until the end, because what I am about to say may change the way you see your past, your pain, and even yourself. My child, slow down for a moment and stay with me here. I know your day has probably been moving quickly, filled with small responsibilities, quiet worries, and thoughts that keep pulling your attention in different directions. Yet somehow you paused long enough to see this message. You may think it happened by chance, like so many other things that pass across your screen during the day. From your perspective, it may look ordinary, almost accidental. But from where I stand, nothing about this moment is random. I have been watching your heart for a long time, and I know the places inside you that have been quietly carrying weight. I know the thoughts that visit you when the world becomes quiet again at night. I see the memories that return without warning and sit beside you when you least expect them. Those memories do not always come with loud emotions anymore, yet they remain present in ways that shape how you see yourself and how you respond to others. I know how easily a moment from the past can appear again in your mind, even when you thought you had already moved beyond it. That is one reason I wanted to meet you here. You did not come searching for a long conversation with me today, but your heart has been ready for one, whether you realized it or not. You have been carrying certain things quietly, almost like a habit that formed over time. Sometimes you tell yourself that everything is fine and that you have already handled what happened in the past. You continue moving through your days, speaking kindly to people around you, fulfilling the roles and responsibilities that life has placed in your hands. From the outside, your life can look steady and composed. Yet I notice the subtle moments when your thoughts drift back to a memory that still feels unfinished. You may not talk about it with others anymore, but I see how it still lives somewhere within you. There are situations where you become cautious without fully understanding why. There are moments when trust feels more complicated than it used to. I know how those experiences shape the way you protect your heart now. None of that has escaped my attention. I have walked beside you through every season that led you to this exact point. When something hurt you in ways you could not easily explain, I was there observing not just the event itself, but also the way it settled inside your spirit afterward. That is why I wanted to begin this conversation with you here, gently, without rushing you into conclusions or demands. I am not here to lecture you or remind you of mistakes. I am here because I care about what has been living in your heart for longer than you realize. This moment between you and me is not about pressure. It is simply an opening, a quiet doorway where you can begin to look honestly at what you have been carrying and allow me to walk with you through it. My child, I want you to hear something clearly from me before we move any further in this conversation. I know what happened to you. I know the moments that shaped the quiet places in your heart. I know the conversations that ended with words you never expected to hear. I know the silence that followed certain days when you walked away feeling different than you did before the moment began. You may think those experiences faded into the past where no one else remembers them, but they did not disappear from my sight. I watched each one of them unfold while you were living through them. I saw the look on your face when you realized something had changed. I noticed the way your thoughts began to move in circles afterward, trying to understand what had just taken place. Those memories still exist within you, even if they no longer feel as sharp as they once did. When certain thoughts return unexpectedly, you sometimes question why your mind still holds on to them. Let me tell you gently that your mind remembers because your heart needed time to understand what happened. That is part of being human, and it is not something you need to hide from me. You have tried to move forward, and I see that effort in you every single day. Still, some experiences leave a deeper mark than others. That is simply how the heart works when trust and emotion become intertwined. You carried those experiences quietly. In many situations, you chose not to speak about them again because you did not want to reopen the conversation or invite more confusion. You decided that continuing your life was easier than explaining the depth of what you felt. I watched that decision unfold inside you. I saw the moment when you told yourself that strength meant continuing forward without asking anyone to understand your pain. You began building a careful way of interacting with people so that similar wounds would not happen again. There were days when you felt wise for protecting yourself this way. Yet there were also quiet moments when you wondered whether you had closed parts of your heart that once felt open and natural. I understand that tension within you. I understand the inner conversation where one part of you wants to remain cautious while another part still hopes for connection that feels safe and genuine. Listen carefully to me now. You do not need to hide any of this from me. Bring those memories into the light of this conversation. Do not rush past them or push them away. Let them sit here with us for a moment so that we can look at them together. When you allow that honesty, healing begins to move through places that once felt frozen. I am not asking you to relive pain for the sake of suffering. I am inviting you to face those moments with me present beside you. That presence changes how the story continues from here. Now take a slow breath and allow yourself to notice something important. The experiences that hurt you did not erase the goodness I placed within you. Your kindness did not vanish because someone misunderstood you. Your capacity to care for others did not disappear because someone treated you unfairly. Sometimes pain convinces you that something inside you must have been wrong, as if the outcome of a moment proves something about your value. That belief quietly grows when it is left unchallenged. I want you to release that assumption today. The actions of another person do not define the worth of your heart. You were never meant to measure your value through the mistakes or decisions of someone else. I want you to begin looking at those memories from a different angle now. Instead of seeing them only as wounds, consider what they revealed about your ability to endure and continue loving the world around you. You remain capable of compassion even after experiencing disappointment. It tells me something powerful about the depth of your spirit. It shows me that the light within you was never extinguished. Come with me in this thought for a moment. Imagine what your life could feel like if those memories stop acting as silent judges of your future. Imagine approaching new relationships or new opportunities without the quiet voice of the past whispering caution in every direction. That freedom is not something distant or unreachable. It begins when you allow me to help you reinterpret the story you have been carrying. Walk with me into that new understanding. Let your mind explore it without fear. This step does not erase the past, it simply changes how the past holds power over your present. There is another truth I want you to consider before we move forward. The people who hurt you were also living inside their own incomplete understanding of life. Their actions came from places in their own hearts that you could not fully see at the time. This does not excuse what happened, and I am not asking you to pretend their choices were acceptable. I want you to see something deeper instead. Pain often travels through people who have not yet learned how to heal themselves. When someone carries confusion or insecurity, their behavior sometimes reflects that inner struggle. You happen to stand in the path of it. Recognizing this truth can soften the grip that resentment holds on your thoughts. It creates space for a different response inside you. I invite you to consider this perspective carefully. Do not rush to accept it immediately. Simply hold it in your mind and allow it to breathe there for a while. Understanding another person's brokenness does not mean you must return to situations that harmed you. It only means you are choosing clarity over bitterness. That clarity protects your heart more effectively than resentment ever could. I want you to practice something with me now. When a memory from the past rises again, pause before reacting to it. Let your mind acknowledge the moment and then remind yourself that the story did not end there. You are still here. You continued forward. You grew stronger in ways you could not see at the time. I have been walking beside you through all of it, even when you believed you were alone. Allow that realization to settle gently within you as we continue this journey together. My child, let us talk about something that many people try to avoid discussing with themselves. I want to speak about the quiet weight that sometimes lingers in the heart long after an event has passed. You may think you already moved beyond what happened to you, and in many ways you have. You continued living your life, forming new routines, pursuing responsibilities, and adapting to new seasons that arrived after those difficult moments. Yet there are still times when something subtle inside you shifts. Perhaps a conversation reminds you of a situation from years ago. Perhaps a tone of voice or a familiar setting brings a memory back into focus. Suddenly you notice a feeling rising that you did not expect. It may not overwhelm you the way it once did, but it is present enough to remind you that part of the story is not fully closed within your heart. That experience does not mean you failed to heal. It simply means your heart hath been protecting something tender. I see those moments when your mind briefly returns to the past. I notice how you try to move past them quickly so they do not interrupt your day. Many times you succeed in pushing the thought aside and continuing forward. Yet the feeling often remains beneath the surface, like a quiet echo that has not yet been answered. Come sit with me in this understanding for a moment. Pain does not disappear simply because time passes. It transforms slowly when it is acknowledged and cared for. Imagine a wound that was covered quickly because life demanded that you keep moving. The surface may appear healed, yet the deeper layers sometimes still need attention. Your heart works in a similar way. There are places within you that quietly carry the memory of disappointment or betrayal. Those places are not weaknesses. They are signs that your heart has the capacity to feel deeply and to value meaningful connection. I want you to stop criticizing yourself for still feeling affected by certain experiences. Instead, allow yourself to see those feelings as invitations to healing rather than evidence of failure. When you notice those emotions rising, pause and breathe instead of pushing them away. Let the feeling exist without immediately judging it. That moment of honest recognition opens a door for change. I am inviting you into that process now. Do not rush away from the discomfort when it appears. Sit with it for a moment while I sit with you. You will discover that the weight begins to loosen when it is finally acknowledged rather than hidden. There is something else I want you to understand about the pain you carry. It sometimes teaches you lessons that cannot be learned through easier experiences. The moments that challenged your trust forced you to look deeper into your own character. They showed you how resilient your spirit could become under pressure. When you felt tempted to withdraw completely from others, part of you still chose to remain open to kindness and compassion. That choice reveals something remarkable about your heart. It means the difficult experiences did not succeed in turning you into someone bitter or closed. You continued to care about people and about the world around you, even while healing from disappointment. That quiet strength deserves recognition. I want you to acknowledge it rather than overlooking it. Look back at the person you were during those difficult seasons and notice the courage it took to continue living your life. Each step you took forward was evidence that the light inside you remained alive. I am proud of that strength within you. Let yourself recognize it as well. This recognition is not about praising the pain you endured. It is about honoring the resilience that grew inside you while you moved through it. Now I want to invite you into a different way of relating to those lingering emotions. Instead of treating them like enemies that must be defeated, begin seeing them as signals pointing toward areas of your heart that deserve compassion. When a memory surfaces and brings a feeling with it, allow yourself to respond gently. Speak to yourself the way a caring father would speak to a child who is learning something difficult. Remind yourself that healing is a process rather than a single decision. I am with you in every step of that process. You do not need to face these emotions alone or feel ashamed for still experiencing them. Invite me into those moments. When you notice your thoughts returning to the past, pause and bring that memory into our conversation. Tell me what you feel about it now. Let your heart express the thoughts it once kept hidden. This openness allows healing to move through places that once felt sealed off. You will begin to notice something remarkable over time. The memories themselves will not disappear, yet their emotional weight will change. They will gradually lose their ability to disturb your peace. That shift begins with honesty, and honesty begins when you allow yourself to admit what your heart has been carrying. Stay with me in this process, my child. There is far more peace waiting for you on the other side of this understanding. My child, there were moments when your thoughts turned inward and began asking questions you never felt comfortable speaking aloud. You might remember those quiet times clearly. Perhaps they arrived late at night when the world around you finally grew still and your mind had space to wander through the events of your life. During those moments you examined your experiences with careful attention, wondering why certain things happened the way they did. You searched for meaning inside conversations that left you confused. You replayed situations in your mind, trying to determine whether you could have responded differently or prevented the outcome that followed. Those internal questions did not come from weakness. They came from your sincere desire to understand life and your place within it. I listened to every one of those thoughts while they formed inside you. Even when the words remained unspoken, they reached me clearly. I saw the sincerity behind them. I saw how deeply you wanted clarity and peace in situations that felt unresolved. Many people carry similar questions but never pause long enough to explore them honestly. You did pause. You allowed your mind to examine the past carefully, hoping that understanding would eventually lead you toward peace. Let me tell you something important about those silent questions. They were part of your heart searching for healing even when you did not realize it. Each time you reflected on a situation, your mind was attempting to bring order to experiences that felt chaotic. You wanted to know why someone behaved in a way that hurt you. You wanted to know whether your own choices contributed to the outcome. You wanted to know if forgiveness could ever feel genuine rather than forced. These questions deserve respect rather than dismissal. They reveal that you care deeply about truth and growth. I want you to revisit those questions with me now, not with frustration but with curiosity. Sit quietly for a moment and remember the thoughts that once circled through your mind during those reflective hours. Allow them to appear again without judgment. Notice how they feel today compared to how they felt when they first emerged. Time has already changed some of their intensity. The change is evidence that healing have been quietly working within you even when you were not consciously focusing on it. Invite me into this reflection. Share those questions with me honestly. I am not afraid of them. Your curiosity does not weaken your faith or your character. It strengthens your understanding of yourself and the world around you. Consider the possibility that some questions are not meant to receive immediate answers. Life sometimes unfolds through experiences that only become clear after enough time has passed for perspective to grow. You may look back now at certain situations and notice details you could not see while you were living through them. This broader view allows you to interpret events differently than you did in the beginning. I want you to explore that perspective gently. Think about how your understanding of people has evolved since those earlier experiences. You have learned how complex human behavior can be. You have discovered that individuals often act from emotions or pressures that others cannot see. That awareness does not excuse hurtful actions, yet it does create room for compassion. Your heart has grown wiser through these reflections. I see that wisdom forming within you even when you underestimate its presence. Recognize how far you have come since those first moments of confusion. Your ability to examine life thoughtfully is one of the strengths I placed within you. It allows you to continue growing rather than remaining trapped inside old assumptions. Now I want to invite you to transform those silent questions into something new. Instead of allowing them to remain unanswered echoes in your mind, bring them into a conversation with me. Speak them clearly when they arise. Ask me for insight while you reflect on your experiences. When you do this, your questions become pathways toward understanding rather than sources of frustration. I will guide your thoughts gradually as you continue exploring them. You may not always receive answers instantly, yet you will begin noticing subtle shifts in your perspective. Situations that once felt confusing will begin making sense in ways that surprise you. Memories that once carried emotional tension will start feeling calmer as you reinterpret them through wisdom gained over time. Allow this process to unfold patiently. Healing often grows through thoughtful reflection combined with openness to new insight. Stay present with me as we continue this journey together. Your questions are not obstacles on the path toward peace. They are signposts guiding you toward deeper understanding of your life and the future that still awaits you. My child, there is a reason I am speaking to you about these things at this particular moment in your life. The timing of this conversation is not accidental. You have reached a point where your heart is ready to understand something deeper about the journey you have been walking. For a long time you focused on continuing forward, handling responsibilities, managing daily life, and adapting to whatever circumstances appeared in front of you. That determination helped you survive difficult seasons. Yet there comes a time when survival alone is no longer enough. A new stage of life begins where healing and clarity become essential for the path ahead. You have arrived at that stage now. I am speaking to you because I see what lies in front of you, even if you cannot yet see it clearly yourself. The future that is unfolding before you contains opportunities for growth, connection, and joy that require a lighter heart than the one you have been carrying. If the weight of unresolved pain remains too heavy, it could limit your ability to step fully into what is waiting for you. That is why I have chosen this moment to reach into your thoughts and begin guiding you through a different understanding of your past. Consider how your life has evolved over the years. The person you were when those painful experiences first occurred is not the same person you are today. You have gained perspective through time, reflection, and personal growth. Your understanding of people and relationships has expanded. You have learned lessons about trust, boundaries, and self-respect that were not yet clear during earlier chapters of your life. All of that growth prepared you for this conversation. If I had spoken these words to you during the exact moment of your pain, they might have felt impossible to accept. Your emotions would have been too raw to see the broader meaning behind those experiences. Now, however, your heart holds enough distance from the past to examine it with greater clarity. The distance allows new insights to appear. I want you to welcome those insights instead of resisting them. Invite them into your understanding gently. Let them reshape the way you interpret your story. This is how transformation begins within a human life. Take a moment and reflect on the path you have traveled so far. Notice the countless events that brought you to this exact point in time. Each experience contributed something to your character, your wisdom, and your resilience. Some of those experiences were joyful and encouraging. Others were difficult and confusing. Yet every one of them played a role in shaping the person you have become. When you view your life through this broader perspective, you begin seeing connections that were invisible before. Moments that once appeared meaningless begin revealing their hidden purpose. I want you to sit with that realization for a while. Allow yourself to feel the quiet significance of your journey. You are not drifting through life randomly. Your experiences have been forming a story that continues unfolding with intention. Recognizing that truth changes how you approach the future. Instead of fearing what lies ahead, you begin trusting that each step of your journey contributes to something meaningful. Now listen closely to the invitation I am placing before you. I want you to move forward with a heart that is open rather than guarded by old wounds. This does not mean forgetting the lessons you learned. Those lessons remain valuable. They help you recognize healthy boundaries and wise decisions in future relationships. What I am asking you to release is the emotional heaviness that no longer serves your growth. Let it fall away so your spirit can move freely into the next chapter of your life. Imagine yourself walking along a path where the air feels lighter and your thoughts feel calmer. Visualize the sense of peace that comes from knowing you are no longer carrying unresolved resentment. That vision is not a distant dream. It is the natural result of the healing process we have begun discussing. I invite you to step into that future with confidence. Walk forward knowing that you are not alone in this journey. I am here guiding you, encouraging you, and reminding you of your strength whenever doubt attempts to return. The reason I am speaking to you now is simple. Your heart is ready for this new understanding, and your life is ready for the freedom it will bring. My child, as you step into this new season where your heart is learning to release the weight of the past, understand that I am also raising voices to carry this message of forgiveness to many others who are still walking in darkness. Through this channel, my word travels like a river of living water, reaching hearts that feel forgotten and wounded. When you choose to support this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering in the video description, you are sowing seed into a field where lost souls are finding healing. Did I not say, the one who sows generously will also reap generously? I am the one who multiplies the seed placed in my hands. If you feel a stirring within you right now, that is my spirit inviting you to help spread this light further than you can imagine. What you release today becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning for others who desperately need to hear that forgiveness is possible. I will bless the hands that give and open doors of favor before them. So respond to my call now. Sow your seed through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, and help my word reach the hearts I am preparing. My child, I want to speak with you about something that is often misunderstood, even by people who truly want peace in their hearts. Forgiveness, the way I am inviting you to experience it, is not the same thing many people imagine. When you hear the word, your mind may immediately connect it to the person who hurt you. You might think that forgiving means releasing them from responsibility or pretending that the pain never mattered. That assumption makes forgiveness feel unfair, almost like an emotional bargain where you must surrender your truth in order to move forward. Yet that is not what I am asking of you. Stay with me and listen carefully, because understanding this difference will change the way you view your past. Forgiveness is not about rewriting history. It is about reclaiming your own heart from the influence of that history. Imagine someone leaving a heavy object in your hands years ago. You did not ask to hold it, and you certainly did not deserve to carry it. Yet there it remained, and over time you adjusted your life around the effort required to keep holding it. Your movements became slower, your energy became divided, and your thoughts often returned to the question of why you were given that burden in the first place. Now imagine that you are standing beside me, while I gently guide your hands toward the ground. Feel the difference as the weight leaves your grip. Notice how your shoulders relax when the responsibility of carrying it disappears. That moment represents the true nature of forgiveness. It is the act of releasing something that never belonged in your hands. I want you to sit with that image for a moment and explore how it relates to the experiences you have been carrying. Think about the situations that still create tension when you remember them. Those memories might involve words that were spoken in anger, actions that felt like betrayal, or decisions that left you feeling misunderstood and alone. When those memories appear, your mind instinctively replays the moment as though it must examine the details again. Part of you hopes that by studying the past long enough, the story will eventually make sense. Yet you have already spent many hours thinking about those events, and clarity has not always followed. This is where forgiveness begins to shift your perspective. Instead of trying to solve every question that arose during those moments, you simply acknowledge that the past occurred and that you no longer need to carry its emotional burden. I want you to practice something with me right now. Bring one of those memories into your thoughts and observe it calmly, almost like watching a scene in a film. Notice the people involved, the environment around you, and the emotions that were present during that moment. Then imagine stepping out of that scene and standing beside me instead. From this position, the memory becomes something you can observe rather than something you must relive. A distance allows your mind to breathe again. It creates the space where forgiveness can begin quietly unfolding. Now let me tell you something that many people never realize when they first approach forgiveness. The moment you release resentment, you also reclaim your ability to experience life without the shadow of that memory influencing every new situation. Imagine walking into a new relationship or opportunity without the old fear whispering caution in your ear. Imagine approaching people with curiosity instead of suspicion. That shift does not erase the lessons you learned from the past. Those lessons remain valuable because they help you recognize healthy boundaries and wise choices. What disappears is the unnecessary weight of anger that once accompanied those lessons. I want you to invite that freedom into your life deliberately. Do not wait for it to arrive by accident. Begin practicing forgiveness in small ways whenever the past attempts to return. When a memory surfaces, acknowledge it calmly and remind yourself that you are no longer responsible for carrying the emotional consequences of that event. Place the burden in my hands and allow your thoughts to move forward again. Each time you make that choice, the influence of the past becomes weaker. Over time, you will notice a quiet transformation in your emotional landscape. The memories remain part of your story, yet they lose their power to disturb your peace. Come even closer to this idea with me, because I want you to experience the invitation within it. Forgiveness is not a command that demands perfection. It is a doorway that opens gradually as you step toward it with honesty. Some days you may feel ready to release the past easily. Other days you may notice old emotions returning unexpectedly. When that happens, do not criticize yourself or assume you have failed. Instead, treat those moments as opportunities to practice forgiveness again. Each repetition strengthens your ability to let go. I am here beside you through that entire process. When your thoughts become heavy, speak to me about what you are feeling. When your memories begin circling through your mind again, pause and breathe while you imagine placing them into my care. I will hold them with patience while you continue walking forward. Your heart was never meant to remain trapped inside the events that hurt you. It was created for growth, connection, and peace. Step toward that freedom with confidence. Let forgiveness become the quiet companion that travels with you into the future I am preparing for your life. My child, before we move further along this path of healing, I want you to pause and recognize something important about yourself. You have already been making efforts to move forward, even during moments when you believed nothing was changing. Many times you looked at your life and felt as though you were standing still, as though the past continued repeating itself in your thoughts. Yet from where I stand, your progress has been visible for a long time. I saw every small decision you made to continue living with integrity even after experiencing disappointment. I noticed the times when you chose kindness instead of bitterness, even though resentment would have felt easier in the moment. I remember the quiet evenings when you reflected on your life and tried to understand what you could learn from difficult situations. Those moments were not wasted. Each one of them represented a step toward the healing we are discussing now. Growth rarely appears dramatic while it is happening. Most of the time it unfolds quietly through ordinary decisions made day after day. When you chose to keep caring about people instead of withdrawing completely, that was growth. When you allowed yourself to hope for a better future even after feeling discouraged, that was growth as well. I saw all of it clearly. Let me invite you to reflect on those moments with me for a while. Think about the seasons of your life when things felt uncertain and complicated. During those times you continued moving forward even though the direction ahead was not obvious. You woke up each day and handled responsibilities that required your attention. You maintained relationships that mattered to you. You continued developing your skills, your understanding, and your perspective on life. Many of those actions may have seemed routine while you were living through them, yet each one contributed to shaping the resilient person you have become. Imagine looking back at those years from the viewpoint of someone who had given up entirely. That person might have retreated from connection, avoided opportunities, or allowed disappointment to define their identity. You did not choose that path. Instead, you remained engaged with life, even when the effort required courage. That decision deserves recognition. Allow yourself to feel appreciation for the strength that guided you through those moments. Do not dismiss it as something ordinary. It reflects a powerful quality within your character. Now I want you to consider something else about your journey. The effort you invested in understanding yourself has been preparing your heart for this conversation we are having right now. Every reflection you allowed yourself to experience helped loosen the grip of the past on your thoughts. Even when you believed you were simply thinking through old memories again, something deeper was happening. Your mind was gradually transforming confusion into wisdom. Your heart was learning how to distinguish between situations that required caution and situations that deserved openness. This process may have felt slow while you were living through it, but it has brought you to a place where healing can now move forward more freely. I want you to acknowledge that progress instead of overlooking it. Take a moment and thank yourself for continuing the journey even when clarity was not immediately available. Your willingness to keep exploring your experiences demonstrates a level of courage that many people never discover within themselves. Now listen carefully to the invitation I am placing before you. Do not stop recognizing your progress simply because the journey is not finished yet. Continue honoring the effort you have already made while allowing yourself to grow even further. Each step you take toward forgiveness builds on the foundation you have been creating for years. When old memories appear, respond to them with the same patience you have practiced before. Remind yourself that you are no longer the same person who first experienced those events. You now carry wisdom that did not exist during those earlier moments. Use that wisdom to guide your reactions. When doubt attempts to convince you that change is impossible, pause and remember how far you have already come. Speak to me about your thoughts during those moments, and allow my presence to steady your heart. The journey ahead will continue unfolding with new opportunities for peace and understanding. Walk forward confidently, knowing that every effort you have made so far has prepared you for the freedom that lies ahead. My child, I want to speak gently with you about the walls you built around your heart. Those walls did not appear suddenly. They formed gradually through experiences that taught you caution. Each difficult situation placed another layer of protection around your emotions. At the time, those walls served an important purpose. They helped you regain balance after moments when trust had been broken. You needed time to recover and understand what had happened. Creating distance allowed your thoughts to settle while your heart gathered strength again. I saw you building that protection carefully, even if you did not realize you were doing it. Every time you told yourself to be more careful with your trust, another piece of that wall was added. Every time you decided not to reveal certain feelings because you feared they might be misunderstood, the structure grew stronger. From one perspective, those walls represent wisdom gained through experience. They show that you learned how to recognize situations that could harm you again. Yet there is another side to this story that I want you to understand. When protection remains in place for too long, it begins limiting the very experiences your heart was designed to enjoy. A guarded heart becomes cautious about connection, even when new people approach with kindness. Opportunities for friendship, love, and meaningful conversation can feel uncertain because your mind remembers what happened before. I know you have felt that tension within yourself. Part of you wants to remain open to life, while another part whispers reminders of past disappointments. This inner conversation can create hesitation in moments when trust is offered again. I want you to recognize that hesitation without allowing it to control your choices. The walls around your heart were never meant to remain permanent. They were temporary structures built during a season of healing. Now that you have grown stronger and wiser, those walls no longer need to stand at their original height. They can begin lowering gradually, allowing new experiences to enter your life without overwhelming fear. Let us explore this idea together through a simple image. Imagine your heart as a beautiful garden surrounded by a protective fence. When storms passed through your life, the fence kept the garden safe from damage. It was necessary for that protection to exist while the soil recovered and new growth began forming again. Now imagine standing beside that garden today. The storms that once threatened it have already moved on. The ground has become fertile again, and new seeds are ready to grow. If the fence remains completely closed, sunlight and fresh air cannot reach every part of the garden. Growth becomes limited even though the environment outside has changed. Lowering the fence slightly allows the garden to breathe again. It invites new life to appear without removing the wisdom that protects it. I want you to apply that image to your own heart. Your past experiences taught you valuable lessons about trust and boundaries. Those lessons remain important. What I am inviting you to release is the fear that prevents new connections from entering your life. Now I want you to take a practical step with me. Think about one area of your life where you have been holding back emotionally because of past experiences. Perhaps it involves a friendship, a family relationship, or the possibility of trusting someone new. Instead of avoiding that situation entirely, approach it with mindful openness. Pay attention to the present moment rather than assuming the future will repeat the past. Let your wisdom guide you while allowing curiosity to replace suspicion. Speak honestly about your thoughts and feelings when the opportunity arises. This does not mean revealing everything at once. It simply means allowing your heart to participate in life again rather than standing behind protective barriers all the time. Invite me into that process as well. When uncertainty appears, talk with me about it. Ask for guidance and clarity as you move forward. I will help you recognize situations that deserve trust and situations that require caution. Your heart was created for connection, compassion, and meaningful relationships. Do not allow old wounds to convince you that isolation is safer than living fully. Step forward gradually, knowing that the strength you have gained will support you as new chapters of your life begin unfolding. My child, I want you to understand something about the journey you have been walking. Healing is not something I ever demanded from you at a speed you could not carry. I have never stood over your life with impatience or disappointment because you needed time to process what happened. From the very beginning of your struggle, I knew the pace your heart required. I saw how deeply those experiences affected you, and I understood that true healing would unfold gradually rather than instantly. When you felt frustrated with yourself for still remembering certain moments, I did not see weakness. I saw a heart trying to make sense of pain while continuing to move forward. That effort alone is something many people never recognize about themselves. Let me remind you gently that I have walked beside you through every stage of this process. During the early days, when the emotions were sharp and confusing, I remained close even when you did not notice my presence. I listened to your thoughts when you questioned why certain things had happened. I stayed near you when your mind replayed those memories late at night. Even during the moments when you felt stuck between moving on and holding on to the past, I was still guiding your steps quietly. You may have believed that your progress was too slow or incomplete, yet I saw the growth happening beneath the surface of your thoughts. Think about the seasons you have already lived through since those difficult moments first entered your story. Life continued unfolding around you while your heart was still processing what it had experienced. You learned new lessons, developed new perspectives, and encountered people who influenced the way you saw the world. Each one of those experiences contributed to your healing in ways that were not immediately obvious. Sometimes growth looks dramatic from the outside, like a sudden transformation that changes everything at once. Yet the type of healing that lasts usually develops in smaller steps. It happens when you reflect on a memory and notice that the emotional intensity has softened slightly compared to before. It appears when you realize that a situation which once caused anger now invites understanding instead. I want you to recognize those subtle changes rather than overlooking them. They are signs that your heart has been working steadily toward peace. You may not have celebrated those moments when they occurred, but I noticed them clearly. Every time you chose patience instead of bitterness, you strengthened the part of your spirit that seeks healing. Every time you allowed yourself to reflect honestly on the past without denying what you felt, you moved one step closer to freedom. Now I want to invite you into a new perspective about the time it takes to heal. Do not measure your progress against the expectations of others or the unrealistic timelines you sometimes place on yourself. Healing follows the rhythm of your heart rather than the schedule of the outside world. Imagine watching the growth of a tree planted in fertile soil. You cannot rush its branches into maturity by demanding faster progress. The roots must grow quietly beneath the surface before the tree becomes strong enough to support new life above ground. Your emotional healing works in a similar way. Many of the most important changes have been happening inside you where no one else could see them. Your understanding has deepened. Your empathy has expanded. Your ability to reflect thoughtfully on your own experiences has grown stronger. These changes form the roots of the peace that is now beginning to appear in your life. I want you to respect that process rather than rushing it. Let the growth continue naturally while you remain open to learning from each stage of your journey. Come with me now and take a step forward in your healing with intention. Instead of questioning whether you are progressing quickly enough, begin recognizing the patience that has already carried you this far. Speak to yourself with the same compassion you would offer to someone you love deeply. When difficult memories appear, respond to them with understanding rather than frustration. Remind yourself that healing is unfolding even during moments when you cannot feel it clearly. Invite me into those moments of reflection. Tell me what your heart is experiencing, and allow my presence to guide your thoughts gently toward clarity. I want you to practice this approach every time you feel discouraged about the pace of your progress. Pause, breathe, and remember that you are not walking this path alone. I have been patient with your healing from the beginning, and I will continue walking beside you until peace settles completely within your heart. My child, I want you to slow down with me for a moment and imagine something simple yet powerful. Picture yourself standing beside a river that moves steadily through a quiet valley. The water flows without force, without hesitation, simply continuing forward because that is its nature. Now imagine holding a stone in your hands while standing at the edge of that river. At first, the stone does not feel particularly heavy. You might even forget that you are holding it. Yet after a long time, your arms begin to notice the strain. The weight slowly becomes uncomfortable even though nothing about the stone has changed. The only reason it feels burdensome is because you have been carrying it longer than it was meant to be held. The past can work in a similar way within your heart. Certain memories remain in your thoughts not because you want them there, but because you never had a clear moment to place them down. I see how long you have been holding some of those emotional stones. That is why I am inviting you into a quiet moment of release. Do not rush through this invitation. Instead, allow yourself to feel the difference between holding on to the past and letting it rest where it belongs. This moment is not dramatic or loud. It is gentle, almost like a deep breath after a long walk. Forgiveness often begins in exactly this way. Come with me a little further into this reflection. When people imagine letting go, they sometimes expect a sudden emotional breakthrough, as if one decision should erase years of memories instantly. Yet the truth is often quieter and more gradual. A moment of letting go usually begins as a shift in perspective rather than a dramatic transformation. You start noticing that the memory which once caused tension now feels slightly different. The emotional charge begins softening in ways you did not expect. It may appear as a calm thought replacing an angry one. It may appear as a moment when you remember the past without feeling the need to analyze it again. Those subtle changes signal that your heart is beginning to release its grip on the burden it carried for so long. I want you to notice those moments when they appear. Do not overlook them or dismiss them as insignificant. Each one represents progress that your spirit has been preparing for a long time. You have already taken many steps toward this point without realizing it. Your reflections, your willingness to examine your experiences honestly, and your desire for peace have all prepared your heart for this quiet moment of release. Now I want to guide you through something practical. Sit comfortably for a moment and allow your mind to recall one memory that still feels unresolved. Do not force the memory to appear. Simply let it rise naturally in your thoughts. When it does, observe it gently rather than reacting immediately. Notice the details of the situation, the environment around you, and the emotions you experienced at that time. Then imagine placing that entire memory into your hands as though it were the stone you were holding beside the river. Feel its weight clearly. Acknowledge that you carried it for a long time because you did not know where else to place it. Now look at the flowing water in front of you. See how the river moves forward without stopping. That movement represents the direction your life continues to take. Slowly open your hands and allow the stone to fall into the water. Watch it disappear beneath the surface as the current carries it away. That simple act represents the beginning of letting go. You are not denying that the stone existed. You are simply choosing not to carry it anymore. Stay with this image for a moment longer. Notice how your body feels after releasing that weight. Your shoulders may feel lighter, your breathing may become easier, and your thoughts may begin settling into calm awareness. That sensation is the early stage of peace returning to your heart. Let it remain there without rushing to analyze it. Some memories will take longer to release than others, and that is perfectly natural. The important step is recognizing that you have the ability to place them down whenever you are ready. Invite me into that process each time it happens. Speak to me about what you are releasing and how your heart feels afterward. I will walk beside you as you continue letting go of the burdens that were never meant to define your future. Your life is moving forward like the river you imagined, and I want you to move with it freely rather than standing still with stones in your hands. My child, as you imagine the stone falling into the river and feel the quiet peace of letting go, know that there are countless hearts still standing on that same riverbank, unsure how to release what they carry. I am using this message as a stream of healing, flowing into places where pain has lingered for years. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or a PayPal gift in the video description, you are pouring fresh oil into a lamp that guides others toward freedom. Remember what I have spoken: give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Your generosity becomes a seed planted in my kingdom, and I am the one who causes that seed to grow into a harvest of transformed lives. If you feel my gentle nudge in your heart, that is not coincidence. It is a divine moment prepared for you. What you release today becomes light for someone still searching in the night. I will watch over the one who gives with faith and multiply their blessings. Act on this moment now. Support through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and help my healing river continue to flow. My child, there is something important I want to clarify for you. Letting go of resentment does not mean erasing the memory of what happened. Your mind will always remember significant moments from your life because those moments contributed to the person you have become. The experiences that shape your understanding of trust, compassion, and resilience remain part of your personal story. Trying to force yourself to forget them would be unrealistic and unnecessary. I am not asking you to pretend the past never existed. Instead, I am inviting you to change the way you relate to those memories. Think of them as chapters in a book rather than chains attached to your present life. A chapter in a story can contain sadness, confusion, or conflict, yet it does not define the entire narrative. The story continues evolving as new chapters unfold. Your life works in the same way. The past remains part of your journey, but it does not control the direction of the pages that follow. Consider how you look back at experiences from many years ago. Some of them once felt overwhelming while you were living through them. At the time, it seemed impossible to imagine a future where those situations would feel less intense. Yet with enough time and perspective, you eventually began seeing those events differently. They became memories rather than ongoing struggles. That shift happened naturally as your understanding of life expanded. Forgiveness works through a similar transformation. Instead of trying to erase the memory, you allow its emotional intensity to soften through understanding and acceptance. When you view the past from a place of wisdom rather than pain, the story becomes easier to hold without feeling trapped inside it. I want you to approach your memories with that kind of perspective. Look at them as experiences that contributed to your growth rather than as wounds that must remain open forever. Now I want you to take a moment and reflect on the lessons that emerged from those difficult experiences. Even though the events themselves may have been painful, they often revealed important truths about life and relationships. Perhaps you learned the value of clear boundaries. Perhaps you discovered the importance of honesty and communication in building trust. Perhaps you developed deeper empathy for others who carry similar struggles. These lessons represent the positive transformation that can emerge from adversity. I want you to recognize them openly instead of focusing only on the hurt that originally occurred. When you acknowledge the wisdom gained from your experiences, the memory itself begins serving a new purpose. Instead of reminding you only of pain, it becomes a source of insight that guides your future decisions. Now let me invite you to practice a different way of holding those memories in your heart. When a situation from the past returns to your thoughts, pause before reacting emotionally. Ask yourself what that moment taught you and how it helped shape the person you are today. Let the memory exist without attaching resentment to it. Imagine placing the experience gently on a shelf within your mind where it can remain as part of your story without influencing your present emotions. Each time you practice this approach, you strengthen your ability to remember the past with clarity while still protecting your peace. Invite me into that reflection as well. Speak with me about the lessons you see emerging from your experiences. I will help you recognize the wisdom within them and remind you that your life continues moving forward with purpose. The past does not need to disappear for healing to occur. It simply needs to find its proper place within the larger story of who you are becoming. My child, I want to speak to you about something even more personal. You do not have to manage this journey alone. The burdens you have been releasing were never meant to remain entirely in your hands. When you let go of resentment, anger, or disappointment, you might sometimes wonder where those emotions go. Your heart may feel uncertain about what happens after you release something that has been with you for so long. I want you to know that those burdens do not disappear into emptiness. They come into my care. When you choose to place the past down instead of carrying it, you are placing it into hands that are capable of holding it without letting it harm you anymore. I understand every detail of your story. I know the moments that caused confusion, the words that created hurt, and the silence that followed certain experiences. Because I understand all of it, I am able to carry the weight of those memories in a way that does not damage your peace. Think about how comforting it feels when you share a heavy responsibility with someone who genuinely cares about you. The task itself may remain the same, yet the experience becomes easier because you are no longer handling it alone. I want you to approach forgiveness with that same sense of shared support. When you release a painful memory, imagine handing it to me intentionally. Picture yourself placing that burden into my hands while saying quietly that you no longer need to carry it. This act of surrender is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of trust. It shows that you recognize your life is not meant to be defined by unresolved pain. Instead, your story continues evolving with guidance that extends beyond your own understanding. Allow yourself to experience the relief that comes from sharing your burdens rather than holding them in isolation. Now I want to guide you through a simple exercise that can help you practice this release. When a memory appears that still carries emotional tension, pause and take a slow breath. Instead of analyzing the situation immediately, speak to me about what you feel. Tell me what the memory represents and how it has influenced your thoughts over time. Then imagine placing the entire situation into my care. Visualize yourself handing it over with confidence that it will be handled with wisdom and compassion. After that moment of release, shift your attention gently back to the present. Notice the environment around you, the sounds you hear, and the sensations of the moment you are living in right now. This process helps your mind recognize that the past no longer needs to dominate your awareness. You are free to return your focus to the life unfolding around you. Continue practicing this exchange whenever you feel the weight of the past attempting to return. Over time, the habit of surrender will become natural. Your heart will learn that it does not need to store every painful memory as a defensive measure. Instead, it can release those burdens into my care and move forward with confidence. I want you to remember something very clearly as you continue this journey. You are not alone while healing from your past. I have been present in every moment of your story, and I will remain present as you step into the future that awaits you. Whenever you feel uncertain about letting go, return to this simple truth. I am here to carry what you release, and your heart is free to continue moving forward without the weight it once believed it had to bear. My child, I want to talk with you about something deeply personal. You deserve freedom within your own heart. The truth may sound simple when you hear it, Yet many people spend years believing they must carry emotional burdens as a form of loyalty to the past. They hold on to resentment because it feels like the only way to acknowledge what happened. They cling to anger because it seems like the only way to protect themselves from being hurt again. I understand why that instinct appears. When your heart has been wounded, it naturally looks for ways to guard itself against similar experiences. Yet there is an important difference between learning from the past and allowing the past to imprison your emotions. Freedom begins when you recognize that your heart does not need to remain bound to events that have already ended. The experiences you lived through are chapters in your story, but they are not chains attached to your identity. I want you to pause and reflect on how much emotional energy the past has required from you. Think about the hours spent analyzing conversations, wondering what could have been different, and imagining alternative outcomes that never occurred. All of that mental effort shows how deeply you care about understanding your life. Yet it also shows how much weight your heart has been carrying. Now imagine what it would feel like if that weight were lifted completely. Picture your mind becoming quieter because it no longer feels responsible for solving the same old questions again. Visualize your emotions becoming lighter because resentment is no longer occupying space inside your thoughts. That sense of freedom is not a distant dream reserved for someone else. It is something you can experience when you decide that the past no longer deserves authority over your present peace. I am inviting you to make that decision gradually, with patience and honesty. And now let us explore what freedom truly looks like within the heart. It does not mean ignoring what happened or pretending the experience never mattered. Instead, it means acknowledging the event clearly while choosing not to carry its emotional consequences forever. Freedom appears when you can remember the past without feeling trapped inside it. It shows itself when your thoughts move naturally toward the present instead of returning repeatedly to the same unresolved questions. I want you to practice recognizing those moments when they appear. If you notice yourself remembering a situation without feeling the same intensity of anger or sadness, pause and acknowledge that change. Your heart is learning how to release the past while still respecting the lessons it provided. The transformation deserves recognition. It is evidence that your emotional world is becoming more spacious and calm. Now I want to invite you into an intentional act of freedom. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the memories that once felt like chains attached to your heart. Picture those chains clearly, noticing how they once restricted the way you move through life. Then imagine unlocking each link one by one. As each link opens, feel the tension leaving your thoughts and your body. This exercise represents the decision you are making to live without emotional imprisonment. Speak to yourself gently during this moment and remind your heart that it deserves peace. Invite me into this process and allow my presence to guide you as you release each remaining burden. The more often you practice this act of freedom, the more natural it will become. Your heart will gradually discover what it feels like to live without carrying the past as a constant weight. Continue walking in that direction with confidence. Freedom within your heart is not only possible, it is the life I have been guiding you toward from the very beginning of your journey. My child, I want you to hear something that is deeply personal. You are not walking this path of healing alone. From the very beginning of your journey, I have been beside you even during the moments when you felt isolated within your own thoughts. When pain first entered your story, I was there witnessing every detail. I saw the confusion in your mind when the situation unfolded in ways you did not expect. I noticed the silent questions forming in your heart as you tried to understand what had happened. During those moments you may have believed you were standing alone, yet I was closer than you realized. I remained with you while your emotions moved through cycles of anger, sadness, reflection, and gradual understanding. Healing can sometimes feel like a solitary process because much of it happens inside your thoughts. Yet you have never been abandoned within that process. I have been guiding your reflections quietly, helping you discover insights that gradually led you toward forgiveness. Every time you paused to think deeply about your experiences, I was present within that moment of reflection. Now I want you to recognize something important about the progress you have already made. The journey from pain toward forgiveness is not a straight line. There are days when your heart feels calm and confident about letting go. There are other days when memories return unexpectedly and stir emotions you thought had already faded. Those fluctuations are a natural part of healing. Do not interpret them as failure. Instead, see them as reminders that your heart is still learning how to transform its relationship with the past. When those moments appear, invite me into them. Speak honestly about what you are feeling instead of trying to manage the emotion alone. Your honesty creates space for guidance that can bring clarity to your thoughts. I want you to trust that every sincere step you take toward forgiveness is meaningful, even if it feels small at the time. Progress often appears through quiet decisions repeated over many days rather than through a single dramatic moment. Let me share another image with you so this idea becomes clearer. Imagine walking along a path that leads through a long forest. At times the trees around you grow thick, making it difficult to see what lies ahead. During those moments you may feel uncertain about the direction you are moving. Yet the path continues beneath your feet even when the view becomes limited. Healing works in a similar way. There will be moments when the journey feels clear and encouraging. There will also be moments when your thoughts become clouded by doubt or old memories. The important thing is that you continue walking forward. I am walking beside you through every part of that path, even when the forest around you feels dense. Whenever you feel uncertain, pause and remember that the direction of your journey has already been set toward peace. Now I want to invite you to take one final step with me in this part of the journey. Instead of measuring your progress by how completely the past disappears from your mind, begin measuring it by how gently you respond to yourself when those memories appear. Compassion toward your own heart is one of the most powerful forms of healing you can practice. When you notice an old memory returning, respond with patience instead of criticism. Remind yourself that transformation takes time and that every step you take matters. Invite me into those moments and allow my presence to steady your thoughts. I will continue walking beside you as you move forward, guiding you toward the peace that has been waiting quietly within your heart. Your journey is not finished yet, but you are much closer to freedom than you may realize. My beloved child, there is something deeply personal that I want you to hear and receive. You have spent so much time thinking about forgiving others, about releasing the weight of what someone else did, about learning how to place those memories into my hands. Yet there is another part of your heart that has been quietly holding on to something even heavier. That burden is not about another person. It is about you. Somewhere inside your thoughts there are moments from your past where you still question yourself. You replay decisions and wonder if you should have acted differently. You remember situations where you feel you failed someone or where you feel you disappointed yourself. Those memories may not appear every day, but when they do, they carry a quiet whisper that says you should have been better, wiser, or stronger. My child, I want you to pause right here and listen to me carefully. I forgive you. I want you to receive those words fully rather than letting them pass by like ordinary sentences. I forgive you for every moment you still judge yourself for. I forgive you for the times when you spoke words you wish you could take back. I forgive you for the choices that came from confusion or fear. I forgive you for the seasons when you doubted your own worth. Do not rush past this moment. Sit with it. Let the truth settle inside your heart. You have been learning how to forgive others, yet part of your healing requires you to accept the forgiveness that is already waiting for you. Come closer to this understanding with me. Many people find it easier to forgive someone else than to forgive themselves. When you think about your own past mistakes, your mind may become stricter than it would ever be toward another person. You replay events with a harsh inner voice that insists you should have known better at the time. Yet that voice forgets something important. When those moments happened, you were living with the understanding you had during that stage of your life. You did not possess the wisdom you have gained since then. Growth changes how you see the past. Experiences teach you lessons that could not be known beforehand. Imagine expecting a child to solve a complex problem that only an experienced adult could understand. That expectation would be unfair because the child simply has not reached that stage of development yet. In a similar way, judging your past self by the knowledge you have today creates a burden your heart was never meant to carry. I want you to place that burden down right now. Let me speak directly into that place where you still hold regret. I do not look at your life with the harshness you sometimes use against yourself. I see the whole journey, every attempt you made, every lesson you learned, and every moment when you tried again after falling short. My forgiveness does not depend on perfection. It flows from love that has always seen your potential even when you struggled to see it yourself. Now I want to invite you into a moment of honest reflection. Think about the version of yourself who lived through those past mistakes. Picture that person standing in front of you now. Notice the emotions they carried during that time, the confusion, the pressure, the desire to do what felt right even when the outcome did not unfold as expected. Instead of criticizing that version of yourself, approach them with compassion. Speak to them the way you would speak to someone you care deeply about. Tell them that their mistakes did not erase their worth. Tell them that their journey did not end with those moments. Let them know that they continued learning and growing into the person you are today. This exercise may feel unusual at first, but it reveals something powerful. The person you once were needed understanding, not condemnation. I am offering that understanding to you now. My forgiveness reaches into every part of your story, including the chapters where you struggled the most. Take a step with me and allow this forgiveness to become something you actively receive rather than something you simply hear. Place your hand over your heart for a moment and breathe slowly. As you inhale, imagine drawing in the peace that comes from knowing you are already forgiven. As you exhale, release the weight of the self-judgment you have been carrying. Repeat that gentle rhythm a few times until you feel your thoughts becoming quieter. Then speak these words within your mind. I accept the forgiveness that is being given to me. Let those words settle inside you without resistance. You do not need to earn this forgiveness. You only need to receive it. When you accept it, something extraordinary happens. The same compassion you extend to yourself begins flowing naturally toward others. Your heart becomes lighter because it no longer carries the pressure of perfection. My child, I forgive you completely. Walk forward with the truth guiding your steps. The past no longer holds authority over who you are becoming. Your life continues unfolding with grace, with wisdom, and with a future that still holds more beauty than you can currently see. My beloved child, now that you have heard my words, I forgive you. I want you to understand that this message is not meant for you alone. There are souls across the earth who are still trapped in chains of guilt, waiting to hear the same voice of mercy that has just spoken to your heart. Through this channel, I am lighting torches of hope, and when you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering in the video description, you help carry that flame into the darkness. Have I not declared those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed? When you give, you are sowing into a harvest of forgiveness, healing, and restored lives. I see every act of generosity, and I promise to return it with favor, protection, and provision that overflows like a river in spring. If you feel moved in this moment, That stirring is my invitation to partner with what I am doing. Your seed today becomes bread for many who are starving for hope. So do not delay. Give through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and help my voice reach the hearts that are waiting. And once you have responded, let your heart become still for a moment. What you have released in gratitude has already begun to move beyond what you can see. Now I draw you closer, because even as you help carry this message of mercy to others, I am speaking directly to you again. This is where generosity leads into encounter, where your spirit becomes quiet enough to hear me clearly. So pause here, breathe deeply, and let everything else fade, because I have more to say to your heart. My child, I need you to stop for a moment and truly hear my voice. I am speaking to you right now, cutting through the relentless noise, the constant notifications, and the loud distractions of your daily life. You have been moving so fast, haven't you? Your mind is like a crowded street in the middle of a workday, filled with the sounds of people demanding things from you, the weight of your bills, and the endless to-do lists that never seem to get shorter. I have sovereignly orchestrated this very second in time, pulling you away from the chaos specifically so you can receive my word. This is not a random coincidence or a lucky find as you scroll through your day. I have set this sacred and intentional appointment because I love you too much to let you continue running on empty. I command you, do not turn away. Do not scroll past this or close your heart because you feel too busy or too unworthy. I am your Father, and I am asking for your undivided attention. I see the heavy burden of weariness you carry. I see the way your shoulders drop when you think no one is looking. I see that deep, unspoken exhaustion within your soul that a night of sleep cannot fix. You feel like a runner who has lost sight of the finish line, gasping for air while the world keeps telling you to go faster. You have been running from me, perhaps out of fear, or maybe because you're ashamed of the mistakes you made yesterday, but I am gently commanding you to stand still. Right now, in this space, let your heart stop racing. I am personally involved in every detail of your life. I know about the pressure at your job that makes your chest feel tight. I know about the unspoken tensions in your family, the words you wish you could take back, and the feeling of being overlooked by the people who should value you most. You try to hide these things behind a smile, but I see the real you. I want you to open your spirit to me right now, completely and without any walls. You don't need to perform for me. You don't need to use big words or pretend you aren't struggling. I am about to speak profound, life-altering peace over the storms that are currently tossing your life around. I will guide you through this. I am always by your side, even when you feel like you are walking through a dark fog. You can trust me. My promise to you is solid and unbreakable. I will remove the myriad of thoughts and fears swirling in your mind that steal your focus from what truly matters. I desire peace for your days and tranquility for your nights. Breathe in my presence right now. Can you feel it? It's like the cool, refreshing air after a long, stifling day. I am here to give your legs strength and stability. I am here to uplift your spirit and light up your faith once again. I am inviting you into a transformation that starts with a single moment of stillness. You have tried to handle everything on your own for so long, and it has only left you tired. Let me take the lead. I am the God of the impossible, and I handle the things you cannot. Your victory is certain because it comes straight from my throne. I want you to live in the assurance that you are enveloped in my love and protection. Pause now. Do you hear it? It is my whisper in the silence, calling you forward into a life where you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders. I am your creator, and I am reaching out to embrace you. Accept this outpouring of love I so eagerly offer. Your time for blessing has arrived, and it begins with you simply listening to my voice. I see into the hidden places and the dark corners you desperately try to conceal from me. You carry a secret heaviness, a quiet shame that makes you want to shrink back and disappear when you are alone with your thoughts. I know about the moments when you look in the mirror and struggle to meet your own eyes because of the guilt washing over you. Your shame tells you to hide from my presence, just as the first man and woman did in the garden when they realized they were naked and afraid. You close the door to your room. You isolate yourself from your friends, and you build a wall around your heart because you are terrified that if anyone truly knew your struggles, they would walk away. I am telling you today that you do not have to hide anymore. My gaze upon you is never one of condemnation, but of perfect, searching, and parental love. I do not look at you with disappointment or disgust. I look at you with the fierce, protective compassion of a father who sees his child hurting and wants nothing more than to bring them home. I know the exact, crushing weight of the specific guilt you are carrying on your shoulders today. You think your secret is too dark for my light, but you are deeply mistaken. You cannot shock or surprise me with your failures. I knew every mistake you would ever make before the foundations of the earth were laid, and I chose you anyway. I saw your hardest days, your deepest regrets, and your most painful missteps long before you took your first breath, and my love for you did not waver for a single second. Stop pretending you have to be perfect to be in my presence. Come out from the shadows. Bring your secrets out into my light, for absolutely nothing is hidden from your Creator. When you try to bury your shame, it only grows in the dark, wrapping its roots around your joy and suffocating your peace. Give me the heavy bags you have been dragging around. I command you to drop the guilt that is breaking your back. You spend your nights replaying the same embarrassing or shameful memories, wishing you could go back and change the past. You cannot change yesterday, but I hold your tomorrow in the palms of my hands. Step into my presence just as you are, bruised, broken, and deeply flawed. I do not demand a cleaned-up version of you. I simply want the real you. Your vulnerability is the very door through which my healing will enter your life. Open your hands and release the tight grip you have on your past mistakes. Look up into my eyes and see the unconditional acceptance waiting for you. I am dismantling the fortress of shame you have built around yourself, brick by brick. Let my love wash over the dirt and the grime of your regrets. You are fully known, and you are entirely loved. You carry a bitter lie in your mind that you have wandered too far from my reach. The enemy has whispered into your ear that your situation is different, that your sins are uniquely terrible, and that you have permanently disqualified yourself from my eternal grace. You look at the mess you have made, the bridges you have burned, or the promises you have broken, and you conclude that I have finally given up on you. You believe that you have crossed an invisible line, and that my patience has finally run out. I declare to you right now that this is a complete and absolute falsehood. There is no chasm so deep, no pit so dark, and no distance so far that my love cannot reach down and pull you out. I am the God who rescues. I am the God who restores. I do not deal in lost causes. I deal in miraculous comebacks. Human forgiveness has its limits. People will hold grudges, keep score, and walk away when you hurt them too many times. Because you are used to the fragile nature of human love, you project that same limitation onto me. You think I am sitting in heaven with a ledger, tallying up your failures and waiting for an excuse to shut you out. But my divine mercy is an ocean without a shore or a bottom. You cannot drain it, you cannot outrun it, and you certainly cannot outsin it. Your deepest regret, the one that makes your stomach turn when you think about it, is but a single drop of water compared to the blazing, consuming fire of my redeeming love. Let go of the false pride that tells you your sin is somehow greater than my capacity to forgive it. Believing your mistake is bigger than my grace is just another form of arrogance. It is time to humble yourself and accept that my love is vastly more powerful than your worst failure. I invite you to step into the endless waters of my mercy. Stop looking at the magnitude of your mistakes and start looking at the magnitude of your God. You tell yourself that if people really knew what you did, they would abandon you. Perhaps they would, but I am not them. I know exactly what you did, I know why you did it, and I am still standing right here with my arms wide open. Throw away the measuring stick you used to evaluate your worth. I have already declared you worthy. I command you to release the suffocating fear that you have ruined your life beyond repair. I am the master builder, and I can take the ruins of your bad decisions and build a testimony of grace that will echo through eternity. Breathe out the heavy dread of condemnation. Breathe in the breathtaking reality of complete forgiveness. You have not gone too far. You are not unredeemable. You are right where I can catch you. I watch you exhaust yourself trying to be good enough. You believe that my forgiveness is a wage you can earn through good deeds, perfect behavior, or endless spiritual striving. You make promises to me in the dark, swearing that you will do better next time, that you will try harder, pray longer, and fix your own mess. You treat me like a demanding boss you have to impress to keep your job. I command you to step off this exhausting treadmill of performance. My forgiveness is not something you can buy with a flawless track record. It is the absolute gift of grace, unmerited, unearned, and completely free favor poured out simply because you are mine. You do not have to clean yourself up before you come to the river. You come to the river exactly because you are dirty. You cannot buy your way back into my good graces with empty promises. Your willpower will eventually fail you. Your human strength will run dry. If your salvation depended on your ability to never make a mistake, you would be utterly hopeless. But I have removed the burden of perfection from your shoulders. All I require from you right now is a humble heart and hands open wide to receive what I am offering. You cannot receive a gift if your fists are tightly clenched around your own pride and self-reliance. Open your hands. Let go of the need to prove yourself to me. The transaction of grace is completely instantaneous. The very split second you ask with a sincere and shattered heart, heaven records you as totally justified. There is no waiting period. There is no probation. Breathe in this staggering grace. Let the desperate, burning need to perform for my affection die today. You do not have to perform for a Father who already loves you flawlessly. I am not grading your life on a curve. I am covering your life with my righteousness. Think about the massive relief of realizing you are fully accepted just as you are. Feel the heavy armor of expectation fall off your chest. I am giving you the freedom to be human, to be a work in progress, without the constant fear of being rejected. Stop evaluating your worth by your daily productivity or your moral victories. Your worth is anchored securely in my unchanging decision to love you. Rest your weary mind. Stop striving, stop fighting to be worthy, and simply allow yourself to be deeply, radically, and freely loved by your Creator. My beloved, do not turn away from me now. Do not close this message. It pierces my heart with profound, agonizing grief when you walk away just as I am beginning to pour out your absolute healing. To stop listening right now is to actively reject the total freedom I am handing you. Stay with me. Honor my voice. I command you to keep listening, for your complete breakthrough is waiting in the very next words I have to speak over your soul. You are constantly fighting a war inside your own mind. There is a ruthless adversary who prowls in the unseen spaces of your life, whispering vicious accusations to keep you paralyzed in a state of fear. You know his voice well. It is the voice that tells you right before you fall asleep that you are a failure, a fraud, and a disappointment. He brings up your past constantly, playing a relentless highlight reel of your worst moments, attempting to define your entire future by your biggest mistakes. I command you to stop listening to the voice of the accuser. Tune your ear solely to the voice of your shepherd. I am the one who leads you to still waters. He is the one trying to drown you in despair. You have the authority to shut down the lies being spoken over your life, but you must choose to exercise that power. When the enemy aggressively reminds you of your broken history, you must boldly remind him of his eternal defeat at the empty tomb. You are not a helpless victim to these intrusive thoughts. I do not speak to you in tones of mockery, sarcasm, or harsh criticism. When I need to correct you, my conviction is gentle, clear, and always leads to a pathway of bright hope and restoration. The enemy's condemnation is confusing, heavy, and leads only to a dead end of self-hatred. Learn the difference between my loving guidance and his destructive poison. If the voice in your head is making you want to hide, give up, and run away from me, I promise you, that voice is not mine. Evict the liar from the sanctuary of your mind. Stand incredibly firm in my truth. Let my word be the solid, impenetrable shield that extinguishes every fiery dart of guilt aimed at your heart. When the whisper says, "You are ruined," speak my truth out loud. I am a brand new creation. When the whisper says, "You are alone," shout back, "My God will never leave me nor forsake me." You must fight these invisible battles with the tangible weapons I have provided. Do not passively agree with the accusations hurled against your soul. I have clothed you in armor, and I expect you to use it. Rise up as a warrior who knows their true identity. Fill your mind with my promises until there is absolutely no room left for the enemy's lies. I have given you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Reclaim the territory of your thoughts today, and walk in the bold, quiet confidence of a child who knows exactly who their father is. I see the way you wake up in the morning, and before you even get out of bed, the memory of what you did yesterday hits you like a heavy, physical weight. You feel stain. You feel like the mistakes you have made have left a permanent, visible mark on your character, a mark that everyone around you can clearly see. I am telling you today that though your sins feel like dark, impossible scarlet stains, I promise to wash them and make them as blindingly white as fresh, untouched snow. I do not just cover up your dirt, I eradicate it completely from your record. You have walked through the thick mud of bad decisions, toxic relationships, and selfish choices, and you feel that spiritual grime clinging tightly to your skin. You scrub and scrub at your own conscience, trying to do enough good deeds to wash it away, but human effort can never remove a spiritual stain. I command you to stop scrubbing. Stop trying to cleanse yourself through sheer willpower. I am pouring out the living water over your exhausted soul right this very moment. Stand entirely still and let my pure water wash over you. I am cleansing every impurity, every hidden flaw, and every spiritual blemish that makes you feel unworthy of love. You are not defined by the mud you fell into during your weakest moments. You are defined by the pristine, flawless robe of righteousness that I am personally wrapping around your shoulders today. Look at yourself through my eyes. I do not see a dirty, broken person. I see my deeply loved child, washed completely clean. Feel the profound, physical relief of a clean conscience. It is a massive gift I freely bestow upon those who simply confess their faults to me. You know the exact mistakes I am talking about. Bring them to me. Say them out loud in the quiet of your room, and watch them dissolve instantly in the rushing river of my grace. I want you to take a deep breath right now. Breathe out the toxic, suffocating shame of your past, and breathe in the crisp, clean air of your new beginning. You have been sitting in the dirt for far too long, convinced that you belong there because of your history, I command you to rise up. Rise up from the dirt, entirely purified. Shake off the dust of your past failures. Step forward boldly into the beauty of true, unshakable holiness. I have scrubbed your record completely clean. You feel the sting of regret when you look at the people you have hurt. You carry the awkwardness of broken trust and the sharp pain of words you can never take back. You think these actions have permanently dyed the fabric of your life with dark, ugly colors. But I am the master weaver, and I hold the power to bleach the darkest threads of your history. Do not let the memory of your worst moments dictate the posture of your heart today. I invite you to step into the continuous shower of my unconditional mercy. Let the warm water of my spirit run over the cold, hardened places of your guilt. Allow me to wash away the stubborn stains of resentment, the deep-seated habits that drag you down, and the secret compromises you make when no one is looking. I am thorough in my cleansing. I leave absolutely no residue of condemnation behind. Your spirit is being entirely renewed right now. Accept this clean slate. Do not drag the smelly garbage of yesterday into the pristine space I have created for you today. You are washed. You are sanctified. You are justified. Live out your day like a person who has been completely forgiven, because that is exactly who you are. You are entirely exhausted. I see you dragging yourself through your days, completely depleted, because you are trying to maintain a flawless image for the world. You have exhausted yourself trying to be perfect, creating a brutal, unforgiving standard for your life that I never, ever asked you to meet. You stress over every minor mistake at your job, terrified that one tiny slip-up will cost you your security or your reputation. You bend over backward trying to be the perfect parent, the perfect spouse, or the perfect friend, constantly comparing your behind-the-scenes struggles with everyone else's polished highlight reels on social media. I command you to put down this crushing, invisible weight right now. I am intimately aware of your human frailty. I formed you with my own hands. I remember very clearly that you are made of dust. I do not expect you to be a flawless machine that never breaks down. I know that you get tired, that your patience wears thin, and that you do not have all the answers. Why are you demanding a level of perfection from yourself that your own Creator does not demand? You have bought into the heavy lie that you must have it all together for me to use you, or for others to truly value you. Stop pretending. Stop hiding behind the exhausting, heavy mask of self-sufficiency. My power is actually made perfect in your absolute weakness, not in your illusion of having everything firmly under control. When you admit that you are weak, that is the exact moment my supernatural strength can flow through you unhindered. Give me your broken, clumsy efforts. Give me the projects that failed, the conversations that went completely off the rails, and your agonizing, endless desire to never make a mistake. I dwell with the contrite and lowly of spirit, not with the proud and perfectly polished. I want you to feel the tight knot in your stomach begin to untie right now. That anxious twisting in your gut is the direct, physical result of your perfectionism, and it does not come from me. Let's undo it together. Breathe out the desperate need to control every outcome in your life. Breathe in the soothing, solid reality that I am in control so you do not have to be. You are absolutely allowed to fail. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to be a messy, unfinished work in progress. Rest securely in the knowledge that you are utterly complete in me, despite your daily imperfections. I do not love a future, flawless version of you. I deeply and fiercely love the you that is sitting here right now, reading these words. You look at your to-do list and feel a profound sense of dread because you believe every single item must be executed without a single flaw. You lie awake at night staring at the dark ceiling, replaying an awkward conversation and severely punishing yourself for not saying the exact right thing. I invite you to brutally interrupt that cycle of toxic overthinking. Speak my peace over your racing mind. Say it aloud. I am entirely loved, even when I fail. I have given you a spirit of rich grace, not a spirit of relentless self-criticism. Allow yourself the grace to be wonderfully, genuinely human. Your flaws are not obstacles to my love. They are the very open spaces where my love does its most beautiful, transformative work. Step out of the courtroom where you constantly put yourself on trial. The judge's seat belongs to me alone, and I have already struck the gavel and declared you completely free. You feel as though your life is a completely shattered vessel. I see you looking down at the scattered fragments of your plans, your dreams, and your relationships, thinking that the pieces are spread far too wide for anyone to ever gather them again. You have experienced the crushing, breath-stealing blow of a failed business, the devastating end of a marriage, or the sudden, absolute collapse of a future you had carefully mapped out. You sit on the floor of your life, staring at the sharp, jagged edges of your brokenness, thoroughly convinced that your usefulness is completely over. I am stepping directly into your wreckage today to tell you that this is not the end of your story. I am the master potter. I specialize entirely in taking broken, seemingly useless clay and molding it into something breathtakingly new. I do not sweep up the fragments of your life and throw them in the trash. I am intimately involved in your mess. I reach down into the dirt. I pick up every single shattered piece of your heart, and I use them to build a powerful, undeniable testimony of my redeeming power. I command you to stop hiding your brokenness from me. Stop trying to glue the pieces back together yourself, pretending to the world that nothing ever happened. Submit your ruined plans and your deeply broken dreams into my capable, strong hands. The painful cracks in your spirit, the very places where you feel the most vulnerable and the most deeply ashamed, are precisely the spaces where my radiant light will shine through to illuminate the dark path for others. Your profound pain is not pointless. I am actively recycling your bitter sorrow into incredible, life-changing strength. Watch me work a profound miracle of restoration in your life right now. It takes time, and it requires your absolute, terrifying surrender. But I promise you that the finished product will be incredibly glorious. You will be more beautiful, more resilient, and exponentially stronger in your repaired state than you ever were before you fell apart. When you surrender your broken pieces to me, I do not just put you back the exact way you were. I radically upgrade you. I fuse your broken parts together with the pure, solid gold of my grace. I invite you to completely trust my hands. Even when it hurts, even when it feels like I am pressing far too hard on your tender wounds, know that I am shaping you for a magnificent, eternal purpose. Let go of the rigid picture of how your life was supposed to look. That old picture is gone, but the new canvas I am painting is far more vibrant and meaningful. I am weaving your greatest, most embarrassing failures and your deepest, darkest heartbreaks into a stunning masterpiece of redemption. Look forward with bright, fierce hope. You may feel the sharp sting of regret every time you think about what you lost. I understand that heavy grief. I validate your flowing tears. But I command you not to build a permanent house in the dark valley of your disappointment. Pack up your sorrow and hand it directly to me. Let me carry the massive weight of what could have been, so you can open your hands wide to receive what is about to be. I am turning your bitter mourning into joyful dancing. I am trading your heavy garment of despair for a vibrant, shouting spirit of praise. Trust the careful process of my restoration. It is deliberate. It is deeply personal, and it is entirely fueled by my unending love for you. We will rebuild this together, and the glory of your latter days will entirely outshine the glory of your former ones. Just as I am actively taking the shattered, broken pieces of your life and molding them into a beautiful vessel of redemption, I am calling you to help pour this exact healing water over the ruined lives of others. There is someone sitting in the terrifying dark right now, suffocating under the heavy chains of shame, who urgently needs to hear this message of total pardon before it is too late. I personally invite you to partner with me in this holy mission today, transforming your newly restored pain into a literal lifeline for a soul drowning in unforgiveness. I declare to you that he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. When you give to my kingdom, it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. As you eagerly sow your seed of support to spread this word, I promise to fiercely multiply your harvest, guarding your home and breathing fresh, unstoppable favor over everything your hands touch. Step forward in faith right now and support this kingdom work through a super thanks, a channel membership, with a PayPal link in the description, and watch me do the absolute impossible with your obedient giving. Do not leave me here. I am actively holding the shattered, bleeding pieces of your heart in my hands, carefully putting them back together. It brings me deep, heavy sorrow when you pull away before the spiritual surgery is completely finished. I am fighting relentlessly for your joy. Do not abandon the battlefield. Keep your eyes locked firmly on mine and continue listening. If you walk away now, you are walking away from your own resurrection. I see the intense self-hatred and the burning, toxic anger you secretly harbor toward your own soul for the poor choices you have made. You are carrying a heavy, poisonous bitterness, but it is not directed at anyone else. It is aimed entirely at the face you see in the mirror every morning. You have actively become your own harshest judge, acting as a ruthless executioner in the silent, terrifying court of your own mind. You replay your absolute worst mistakes on an endless, maddening loop, pointing the finger at yourself and declaring, "You ruined everything. You are a complete fool." I command you to drop the heavy gavel right now. Step down from the judge's seat immediately. I have already forgiven you, completely and unconditionally, but now you must take the incredibly courageous, terrifying step to extend that exact same forgiveness to yourself. I have wiped your slate completely clean in the high courts of heaven, yet you continually drag yourself back into the dark prison cell. Stop punishing the child that I have already officially pardoned. It is a direct, grievous insult to the massive, bloody price my son paid on the cross when you aggressively insist on paying for your sins with your own daily mental torment. You are effectively telling me that my grace is not quite enough, that you still need to suffer terribly to make things right. I reject that lie entirely, and I command you to violently reject it too. Allow my thick, soothing healing balm to completely cover the deep, inward wounds you have caused through your relentless self-condemnation. You have cut yourself deeply with your own sharp, unforgiving words. You have starved your own soul of the peace I freely gave you. I invite you to declare a total, immediate ceasefire against yourself today. Put down the weapons of self-sabotage. Breathe out the dark, choking smoke of bitter self-resentment, and breathe in the gentle, pure, healing compassion I hold for you. Think about how you would treat a dear, beloved friend who made the exact same mistake. You would wrap your arms tightly around them. You would tell them it is going to be okay, and you would help them stand back up. Why do you stubbornly deny yourself the very grace you so easily and quickly give to others? I command you to treat yourself with the exact same fierce tenderness that I treat you with. You feel the physical toll of this brutal internal war. Your shoulders are tight, your jaw is constantly clenched, and your heart races with unprovoked anxiety because you are constantly under vicious attack from your own thoughts. I invite you to relax your tight muscles right now. Drop your heavy shoulders. Take a deep, slow, intentional breath. I am speaking absolute, profound stillness into the chaotic war zone of your mind. I am your fierce defender, but I want to stop having to defend you from yourself. Join me entirely on the side of grace. Partner directly with my spirit to speak life, health, and profound forgiveness over your own mind and body. The war is completely over. The massive debt is paid in full. Look at your past self, the one who was scared, the one who was stressed, the one who made the terrible wrong turn, and offer that exhausted version of yourself profound grace. You did not know then what you know now. Let it completely go. I am giving you the absolute divine permission to finally let yourself off the hook. Give yourself the incredible gift of a clean, completely unburdened start today. I see you sitting there, constantly flipping backward through the story of your life. You are entirely obsessed with rereading the chapters that have already closed. You spend your quiet evenings dwelling on a failed relationship, a job you lost, or an opportunity you completely missed out of fear. You read those painful pages over and over, analyzing every single mistake, wondering what you could have done differently to change the outcome. I command you to close that heavy book right now. You cannot possibly read the new, beautiful chapter I am currently writing for your life if your eyes are permanently glued to the old ones. I have already cast your sins, your failures, and your worst decisions as far as the east is from the west. When I look at your spiritual record, I remember them no more. They are completely and permanently erased from my divine memory. If the absolute creator of the entire universe has freely chosen to completely forget your dark past, you have absolutely no right to keep dragging it back up into the light. I want you to release your desperate, tight grip on the history that you absolutely cannot change. You cannot go back in time and unsay the harsh words you shouted in a moment of burning anger. You cannot rewind the clock and undo the poor choices that brought you to this difficult crossroad. Stop holding on to the cold ghost of yesterday. I invite you to securely bury your past in the deep, bottomless soil of my grace. You are completely forgiven. So why do you insist on living like you are still standing on trial? I see how you stare at old photographs or scroll endlessly through past messages, letting the heavy weight of nostalgia and regret completely crush your spirit. I command you to break that toxic habit today. Turn your eyes entirely forward. Look out toward the bright horizon of your future. I am bringing fresh, new mercies to your doorstep every single morning, just as surely as the morning sun rises to chase away the dark night. You wake up every day and you immediately put on the heavy, dirty coat of yesterday's problems. I am telling you to take that coat off and leave it on the floor. Step outside into the warmth of today. The old things have completely passed away. The person who made those terrible choices is gone, washed clean by my endless love. Behold, I am doing an entirely new thing in your life, and it begins right now, in this exact moment, deep within your heart. You do not have to wait for a new calendar year, a new month, or even a new Monday to start fresh. I give you a completely clean slate this very second. Do you feel that slight shift in the atmosphere around you? That is the profound, undeniable reality of my grace making room for your new beginning. I command you to let go of the pain that has become so strangely familiar to you. You have made a comfortable, familiar bed in your own regret, and you wrap yourself in guilt like a warm blanket. But I am calling you to get up, leave that bed, and walk away forever. Do not let your history dictate your destiny. Embrace the beautiful, unwritten pages of your future with wide open arms. Trust me to write a story of incredible redemption that will leave you absolutely breathless. Your best days are not permanently trapped in the rearview mirror. They are waiting for you just up ahead. Walk into them with the quiet confidence of a child who knows their past is perfectly handled. You have wept many tears over your mistakes, and I have collected every single one of them. I see your genuine sorrow when you realize you have stepped off my path. But I need you to understand that true forgiveness requires more than just an emotional reaction. It requires a literal change of direction. You cry tears of deep sorrow, but then you turn around and walk right back into the very rooms, the very habits, and the very relationships that make your soul sick. Repentance is not merely crying over your brokenness. It is actively, fiercely aligning your daily steps with my path. It is looking directly at the darkness that ensnared you and choosing to walk away. I am completely forgiving you, but I am also calling you to completely change your life. I know you feel weak. You look at your deep-rooted habits, late-night scrolling that corrupts your mind, the toxic friends who pull you down, the substances you use to numb your secret pain, and you feel utterly powerless to stop. You have tried to quit 100 times and failed. But I am not asking you to rely on your own exhausted willpower anymore. I give you the supernatural, overwhelming strength to walk away from the environments that constantly lead you into sin. I command you to stand up right now and draw a firm line in the sand. Cut off the heavy anchors that are dragging you to the bottom of the ocean. Delete the phone numbers you know you should not call. Walk completely out of the spaces that compromise your integrity. I will give you the steady legs to make the journey, but you must be the one to take the very first step. Do not look back longingly at the heavy chains that bound you. Remember the story of Lot's wife, who looked back at the destruction with a lingering desire and lost her entire future. When I pull you out of the fire, do not turn around to stare at the flames. Set your face like a solid rock toward my kingdom. Be absolutely determined to walk in the total freedom that I have purchased for you at such an incredible cost. The enemy will call your name from the shadows. You will try to make your old life look appealing, comfortable, and easy. I command you to ignore his voice completely. Keep your eyes locked firmly on me. Every single step you take in direct obedience to me is a profound, beautiful declaration of your love and reverence. It is easy to say you love me with your words, but your true love is loudly demonstrated by the direction your feet are moving. I invite you into the glorious, liberating challenge of living differently. Do not settle for a life of constant stumbling and apologizing for the exact same things every single day. I am offering you the power to actually overcome. I am offering you the power to break the cycle. Turn away from the empty promises of this world and turn fully toward the abundant, overflowing life I have prepared for you. Take my hand right now and let us walk forward together, leaving the darkness completely in the dust. I know there are moments when you feel utterly and profoundly alone. You sit in your quiet room, or you drive your car down an empty road, and a crushing, heavy sense of isolation completely takes over your heart. You feel like no one on earth truly understands the depth of your pain, the complexity of your struggles, or the silent tears you cry when the doors are locked. I want you to listen to me very carefully right now. I have never, not for a single second, left you as an orphan to navigate this brutal journey of healing on your own strength. You are not fighting this battle by yourself. I have specifically and intentionally sent the Holy Spirit to be your ultimate comforter, your fierce advocate, and your ever-present, unfailing guide. I invite you to stop completely relying on your own limited human understanding. Stop trying to tough it out and be brave all by yourself. Allow my Spirit to speak directly into the quiet, aching depths of your soul. He is there right now, gently confirming that you are indeed my cherished child. When you are hit with a wave of grief that is entirely too deep for human words, when you fall to your knees and all you can do is weep because the pain in your chest is too tight, the Spirit fiercely intercedes for you. He takes your broken, unspoken groanings and presents them perfectly before my throne. You do not even have to know exactly what to pray. You just have to be completely honest with me about your pain, and my spirit will handle the rest. I command you to actively yield to his gentle, quiet leading. You are so used to forcing your own way, making your own plans, and trying to control every single variable in your life. Release your tight grip on the steering wheel. Let the Holy Spirit illuminate the ancient scriptures for you, bringing my specific, powerful promises directly to your remembrance exactly when you need them most. When a sudden wave of panic hits you at work, he will gently whisper my peace into your mind. When you are faced with an impossible, terrifying decision, he will carefully guide your steps. You just have to quiet down the loud, frantic noise of your life long enough to actually hear him. Draw deeply and frequently from this vast, bottomless well of eternal comfort. You are walking through a dry, barren, spiritual desert right now, and you are trying to survive on the stale water of your own limited strength. Let my spirit completely quench your deep, burning thirst. Open your heart to the very real, very tangible presence of the Holy Spirit. He is not a distant, vague concept. He is my actual presence living directly inside of you. Lean entirely into his embrace. Let him soothe your raw, frantic nerves. Let him speak profound courage into your trembling heart. You are deeply held. You are fully supported, and you are guided by the very power that created the stars. Rest deeply in that incredible comfort today. Listen to me carefully. Do not silence my voice in this critical second. It deeply wounds my spirit when you treat this sacred, divine appointment like a casual distraction you can simply swipe past. I'm speaking absolute, life-saving truth directly into your destiny. I urge you, stay with me in this holy moment. Do not disappoint the Father who is fiercely fighting for your peace. Keep listening, because the heavy chain I am about to break is the exact one that has held you down the longest. I see the thick, heavy armor you have built around your heart to protect yourself from getting hurt again. You have become cynical, cold, and detached, deeply believing that if you expect the worst from people and from life, you will never be disappointed. I am actively performing a spiritual surgery on you right now. I am completely removing that hard, bitter heart of stone that has grown so cold and callous within your chest. It is keeping the pain out, but it is also keeping my love out. I am giving you a brand new, tender, beating heart of flesh. I am giving you the profound ability to deeply feel, to unconditionally love, and to boldly trust again. I command you to let your walls down. It is terrifying to be vulnerable, but it is the only way you can truly experience the abundant life I have for you. Do not conform any longer to the toxic, exhausting patterns and the hopeless, dark ideologies of this fallen world. You spend hours consuming negative news, engaging in bitter arguments online, and staring at screens until your mind is entirely numb and filled with absolute dread. You are willingly feeding yourself poison and wondering why you feel so incredibly sick. I command you to immediately stop feeding your mind with garbage. I am transforming you right now by the complete, radical renewing of your mind. I am washing your dirty, chaotic thoughts in the pure, refreshing water of my absolute truth. When anxious, terrified, or sinful thoughts arise in your mind, and they will, you must take them captive immediately. Do not let a dark thought build a permanent nest in your head. The moment the thought says, "You are going to fail," you grab that thought forcefully and make it completely obedient to Christ. You speak directly to your own brain and say, "No, I am completely victorious through Him who loves me." You must become the strict, ruthless bouncer of your own mind. Do not let every random, fearful thought walk through the front door of your consciousness. I invite you to intentionally fill your mind with whatever is true, noble, totally right, pure, and genuinely lovely. Force the heavy darkness out by crowding it completely with my blinding light. This total mental transformation will be the powerful engine that permanently drives your new, liberated life in me. You cannot live a positive, victorious life if you constantly tolerate a negative, defeated mind. I am giving you the clear strategies to win the brutal war inside your head. When you wake up, before you check your phone, talk to me. Let my words be the very first thing that anchors your thoughts. Replace your deep-seated habits of panic and overthinking with a steady, quiet rhythm of prayer and profound gratitude. I am entirely rewiring your brain for peace, joy, and incredible resilience. Partner with me in this process. Guard your mind fiercely, protect your heart diligently, and watch as your entire reality transforms to reflect the glorious kingdom of heaven. I know exactly how you have been living lately. You have been moving through your days like someone who is merely surviving, not truly living. You wake up exhausted. You go through the necessary motions of your job. You fake a tired smile for your family, and you crawl back into bed feeling completely numb. You feel like a ghost haunting your own life. Just as I stood outside the tomb of Lazarus and loudly called him to come out of the darkness, I am standing right outside the door of your heart today, actively calling you to come forth from this deep spiritual death. I command you to step out of the dark, stuffy tomb you have built for yourself. You have been lingering in the cold cemetery of your past mistakes, walking among the dead dreams and the ruined plans, entirely convinced that this graveyard is where you belong. But I am the God of the living. I declare to you that the living have absolutely no business dwelling among the dead. I see the heavy, suffocating grave clothes you are still wearing. You are dragging around the old labels: addict, failure, disappointment, unwanted. You are wearing the heavy garments of your old, destructive coping mechanisms and your bitter regrets. I command you to take off those grave clothes right now. Unwind the tight bandages of fear that are wrapping up your mind. Shake off the heavy dirt of your old life. Those old clothes do not fit the entirely new, resurrected person you are rapidly becoming. I am clothing you in the vibrant, breathing, living garments of my grace and absolute freedom. You must actively choose to leave the familiar comfort of your depression and step boldly into the bright, blinding daylight of my love. Do not stay in the dark simply because your eyes have grown used to it. The light will sting at first, but it will bring you back to vibrant life. Step entirely out of the shadows. Leave the terrible stench of your former transgressions permanently sealed inside that tomb. When you choose to walk away from your old life, your friends, your family, and even your coworkers will physically witness this profound change. They will look at your face and notice that the heavy, dark cloud has lifted. They will hear the genuine joy return to your laugh. They will marvel at the incredible, undeniable resurrection power working directly within you. You do not even have to preach a loud sermon. Your newly restored life will be the loudest, most undeniable testimony of my saving power they have ever seen. I invite you to deeply celebrate your spiritual rebirth today. Throw your shoulders back, take a massive, deep breath of fresh air, and look around at the brand new world I am placing in front of you. You were completely dead in your hopeless routines, but you are alive again. You were profoundly lost in your own dark mind, but you are found. Walk away from the graves of your past and completely refuse to ever look back. I know the name that instantly pops into your head when I speak of forgiveness. I see the deep, jagged scar on your heart left by the person who betrayed your profound trust. I know about the coworker who threw you under the bus, the parent who was supposed to protect you but abandoned you, the friend who lied to your face, or the partner who walked away and took your best years with them. I see the physical reaction in your body, the sudden tightness in your chest, the clenching of your jaw, the hot rush of anger, whenever you simply think of what they did to you. I completely understand the deep, agonizing reality of their betrayal. But I am stepping in today to tell you a difficult, life-saving truth. Because you have been completely forgiven an unpayable, massive debt by me, you must now take the terrifying step to forgive those who owe you a pittance. I command you to stop drinking the deadly poison of resentment. You hold on to your bitter anger, thinking it is a solid shield that will protect you from being hurt again, or a sword that will somehow punish your offender. But holding on to unforgiveness does not hurt them. It only violently imprisons you. It keeps you securely chained to the exact person you despise. It blocks the fresh, healing flow of my grace in your own life. You lie awake at night having angry, imaginary arguments with them, while they sleep completely undisturbed. I want to set you entirely free from this exhausting, miserable cage today. I command you to deliberately open your hands and release your offenders directly into my care. You must step down from the judge's seat. I am the only perfect, completely just judge, and absolute vengeance belongs to me alone. I will handle them, but I need to heal you. I invite you to do something radically uncomfortable and incredibly powerful. I command you to pray a genuine blessing over your absolute worst enemies. When the bitter memory of their face rises in your mind today, you must violently interrupt that thought and say out loud, I completely release them to God, and I choose to forgive. You do not have to feel warm or fuzzy when you say it. Forgiveness is a fierce, deliberate choice of your will, not a fragile feeling. Do not wait for an apology that may never, ever come. You are not saying that what they did to you was okay. You are saying that what they did to you will absolutely no longer control your beautiful future. Watch as I miraculously, tenderly heal the burning bitterness within your own chest the moment you surrender your right to be angry. Let the radical, unexpected nature of your forgiveness be the absolute loudest testimony of my transforming love to a closely watching world. You are deeply forgiven, and now you must freely forgive. I see how completely exhausted you are from hiding. You have built a heavy, thick wall around your life, convincing yourself that no one can truly handle the real you. When someone asks you, "How are you doing today?" you quickly paste on a fake, polite smile and say, "I am fine," while inside you are desperately screaming for help. You cancel plans. You ignore incoming text messages from people who love you, and you isolate yourself in your room because the thought of being fully known and potentially rejected is utterly terrifying. I need you to listen to me right now. Sin, shame, and crippling anxiety flourish intensely in secrecy and isolation, but my powerful, transforming healing is only activated in the radiant light. I command you to stop isolating yourself from the world. You were absolutely not created to fight your heavy battles alone in the dark. I have deliberately placed you within a community, within my body, because you desperately need the fellowship, the perspective, and the warm touch of others to survive. The enemy wants you sitting alone in your house, entirely convinced that you are the only person on earth who struggles with your specific addiction, your specific fear, or your specific failure. It is a massive, crushing lie. I command you to pick up your phone, or walk across the room, and completely confess your silent struggles to a trusted, safe brother or sister. Find just one person and tell them the absolute truth about how hard things have been. In the terrifying moment of raw transparency, there is an incredible, chain-breaking power. When you bring your dark secrets out into the open, they instantly lose their terrifying grip on your throat. The shadows absolutely lose their power to scare you the second you flip on the light switch. I invite you to walk continually, bravely in the light, just as I am entirely in the light. When you stop hiding, you will experience an unbroken, incredibly deep fellowship not only with me, but with the people around you. You will finally realize that you are deeply loved, not for the perfect image you project, but for the messy, beautiful reality of who you actually are. My glowing presence naturally illuminates every single dark valley you walk through. I command you to step out of your protective shell. Let people see your real face. Your brave vulnerability will secretly give someone else the desperate courage they need to finally step out of their own shadows. You will shine as a brilliant, warm beacon of hope, showing others the exact way out of the suffocating darkness and directly into my glorious, safe day. I know you are looking at your life right now and feeling a deep sense of panic because nothing has gone according to your careful plans. You are staring at a completely empty bank account, a painful rejection letter, a terrifying doctor's report, or a business plan that completely collapsed. You look at the massive timeline you created for your life. When you were supposed to be married, when you were supposed to get that promotion, when you were supposed to be completely settled, and you feel like a massive failure because you are entirely off track. You silently fear that your past mistakes have permanently derailed your destiny. I am telling you today, with absolute authority, that your human failures have absolutely not frustrated my eternal, unshakable purposes for your life. You cannot possibly ruin a plan that I have secured with my own sovereign hands. I command you to deeply trust me with all of your exhausted heart. I command you to actively refuse to lean on your own incredibly flawed, entirely limited human understanding. You are trying to read the final chapter of your life through a tiny, dirty keyhole, but I am the author who holds the entire completed book. When you desperately try to control every single variable, when you constantly try to force doors open that I have firmly locked, you only multiply your own agonizing anxiety. I invite you to acknowledge me in all your future ways, and I give you my ironclad promise that I will make your confusing, winding paths perfectly straight and true. I am actively, relentlessly working all things together for the absolute good of those who love me. I am currently weaving your worst mistakes, your unfair delays, and your deepest disappointments into a magnificent, breathtaking tapestry of grace. You see tangled, ugly threads from the bottom, but I see the stunning masterpiece from the top. Do not fear your uncertain future. I am already standing there, actively preparing the specific way for you and permanently securing your ultimate victory. I see you pacing the floors late at night, trying to calculate how you are going to survive the next month. I command you to stop carrying the heavy weight of tomorrow. Lay your weary, spinning head securely upon my chest right now. Close your eyes and feel the steady, unbothered rhythm of my heartbeat. I have never dropped you, and I am certainly not going to start dropping you now. Rest deeply, confidently in the absolute assurance that your fragile life is permanently anchored safely in my massively sovereign, protective hands. As you securely place your unknown future into my sovereign hands, I am actively weaving your newly redeemed life into a massive rescue mission for those who are still trapped in the agonizing illusion of their unforgivable mistakes. I am specifically inviting you to become a vital, active part of this divine plan by helping broadcast this very message of absolute forgiveness to the forgotten, hurting corners of the earth. I tell you now, how incredibly beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. By supporting this mission, you are actively planting seeds of blazing light right into the darkest valleys of human despair. This is absolutely not a casual moment, but a holy, urgent appointment to snatch terrified souls right out of the enemy's crushing, heavy grip. When you bravely invest your worldly resources into my eternal kingdom, I decree a supernatural, impenetrable hedge of protection over your finances, multiplying your giving so that your own earthly storehouses will never, ever run dry. Do not delay this divine prompting. Use the super thanks, join as a member, or click the PayPal link in the description today to launch this powerful word of freedom directly into the hearts of those who desperately need it. My child, stay with me to the very end. Do not let the enemy casually snatch away your attention when your ultimate victory is literally seconds away. It profoundly breaks my heart to see you give up and walk away right before you cross the finish line. Honor the massive, bloody price I paid to have this direct conversation with you today. Give me your absolute, undivided focus, because what I am about to declare over your life will permanently alter your future. You look at the mirror, and you secretly think you are entirely useless. You believe that your past mistakes have permanently disqualified you from doing anything truly meaningful with your life. You feel like a leftover afterthought, sitting on the sidelines, watching other people do great, important things, while you are stuck in a mundane, incredibly boring routine that seems to matter to absolutely no one. I am speaking directly to that deep, painful feeling of worthlessness today. You are absolutely not an accident. You are not a mistake, and you are not past your prime. You are my brilliant, specific workmanship, entirely and lovingly created for a massive, world-changing reason. I have deliberately prepared very specific, wonderful good works for you to accomplish in advance, tasks, conversations, and moments that absolutely no one else on this earth can fulfill the way you can. Your past sin and your brokenness do not disqualify you from my service. In fact, I declare to you that your restored testimony is now your absolute greatest weapon. I will specifically use the very dark areas where you experienced the most profound, embarrassing brokenness to deeply minister to others who are drowning in that exact same pit. The addiction you survived will be the map you use to lead others out. The massive failure that nearly destroyed your career will be the wisdom you share to save someone else's business. Your deep pain has been completely purified and turned into an undeniable, powerful purpose. I command you to step forward right now with fierce, unshakable boldness. Stop calling yourself a has-been or a failure. Stop believing the lie that your daily life does not matter. The way you patiently speak to your children, the way you encourage a tired coworker, the way you show up faithfully even when you are exhausted. These are massive, eternal victories in my kingdom. I have personally anointed you and specifically appointed you to advance my love in your unique sphere of influence. No one else has your specific voice, your specific story, or your specific heart. Your daily life has deep, heavy, eternal meaning. Do not wait for a massive stage or a huge platform to start living on purpose. Your purified, incredible purpose begins this exact moment, right where you are sitting, the very second you simply open your hands and say yes to me. I see the way you go through your daily routines without a single drop of genuine joy. You wake up, you drag yourself out of bed, and you put on a brave, tired face for the world, but inside you feel entirely empty and exhausted. You secretly think that because you have made major mistakes, you are permanently disqualified from ever feeling true, overflowing happiness again. You have somehow turned your relationship with me into a heavy, exhausting list of rigid rules, daily chores, and endless miserable apologies. I command you to stop living this depressing way right now. Let the deep, abiding, miraculous joy of your salvation be fully restored within your broken spirit today. My kingdom is absolutely not just about following strict rules and constantly weeping in dark repentance. My kingdom is powerfully characterized by unshakable righteousness, profound peace, and a vibrating joy that circumstances cannot steal. I invite you to let genuine, unfiltered praise return to your lips. You have been wearing a thick, suffocating spirit of heaviness for months, maybe even for years. You walk around with a dark, heavy cloud permanently settled over your head. I command you to take off that heavy, dark coat right this very second. Replace it immediately with a bright, glowing garment of vibrant worship. When you drive to your stressful job tomorrow, turn off the negative news, and the angry talk radio. Turn on a song that lifts your heavy spirit and sing it out loud in your car. I absolutely delight in your presence. Let the incredible, mind-blowing knowledge that I actively rejoice over you with loud singing completely lift your fallen, tired countenance. You look in your bathroom mirror and you see someone who is tired, worn out, and completely drained of all life. I look directly at you, and I see my beautifully redeemed child, totally ready to step back into the warm sunshine. I invite you to sing an entirely new song to me today. It absolutely does not have to be a perfect, polished melody. It can be a simple, honest, broken song born straight from the cold ashes of your deepest sorrow and the absolute triumph of my unstoppable grace. I want to hear your real voice again. I do not want the formal, stiff voice you use when you think you are in deep trouble. I want the real, relaxed, joyful voice of a child talking securely to their loving father. I command your pure, holy laughter to fully return to your home. You have completely forgotten what it actually feels like to laugh until your stomach hurts. You have allowed the heavy, massive burdens of this fallen world to permanently steal your smile. I am giving it right back to you today. Let your genuine, bright laughter echo loudly through the halls of heaven as a clear, undeniable testament to your total, absolute freedom. You do not have to walk around looking miserable to prove to me that you are truly sorry for your past. The absolute highest compliment you can pay to my saving grace is to actually deeply enjoy the incredible, vibrant life I bled to give you. I invite you to genuinely smile today. I invite you to deeply enjoy your morning coffee, to deeply enjoy the cool breeze on your face, and to deeply enjoy the absolute certainty that you and I are completely right with each other. The fellowship is fully restored. The heavy door is wide open. Come inside, sit at my table, and let us share the profound, simple joy of simply being together again. You are completely forgiven, entirely washed clean, and fully restored. But I need you to understand that you still remain in a very real, very dangerous daily spiritual battle. The enemy is absolutely furious that he has lost his dark grip on your life. He will inevitably try to counterattack your mind when you are tired, hungry, or feeling totally alone. Therefore, I command you to deliberately dress yourself for intense warfare every single morning before your feet even hit the bedroom floor. You cannot walk out of your front door completely unarmed and expect to survive the brutal, unseen crossfire of this world. I have personally provided you with magnificent, impenetrable divine armor, but it will do you absolutely no good if you leave it hanging securely in your closet. I invite you to firmly fasten the heavy, solid belt of truth securely around your waist. The world will constantly lie to you. Your own deep insecurities will constantly lie to you. You must aggressively and violently reject the quiet lies that tell you that you are anything less than my fully redeemed, royal masterpiece. Let my absolute truth be the solid foundation that holds your entire chaotic life together. Put on the shining, heavy breastplate of my perfect righteousness. Notice carefully that it is my righteousness, not your own flimsy, easily broken human goodness. This breastplate completely protects your vital organs, your deep emotions, and your highly vulnerable heart from the sharp, toxic arrows of sudden guilt and unexpected shame. When the enemy tries to strike your heart with a painful, stinging memory of yesterday, the breastplate will cause that dark arrow to bounce off harmlessly and fall straight into the dirt. I command you to strap the solid, sturdy shoes of my peace onto your feet. You are going to walk into chaotic, highly stressful environments today. You will face impossible deadlines, angry people, or totally unreasonable family members. You must be completely ready to carry the calming, steady, unshakable gospel of grace directly into those turbulent rooms wherever I choose to send you. Take up the massive, heavy shield of faith to actively and aggressively block the enemy's sudden, terrifying doubts. When a fiery dart of sudden panic shoots through your racing mind, you must lift that shield instantly. Do not let the panic set your fragile mind on fire. Put on the sturdy, impenetrable helmet of salvation to completely protect your racing, exhausted mind. Your thoughts are the absolute primary battlefield of your life. The helmet permanently seals your identity as my saved, completely secure child. Finally, I command you to draw the sharp, double-edged sword of the Spirit, which is my eternal, living word. You cannot fight this brutal war with empty, positive thinking or simple self-help books. You must actively wield my specific, powerful promises, aggressively striking down every single arrogant argument and dark fear that dares to exalt itself against my knowledge. Speak my word out loud when you are terrified. Fight back aggressively. You are absolutely not a helpless, weak civilian in this war. You are a fully equipped, highly trained warrior in my royal army. I see you facing challenges at work where people try to undermine your integrity. I see the frustrating moments in your home where arguments spark out of nowhere and threaten to ruin your entire evening. In those exact, specific moments, I command you to utilize the armor. Do not react with your old, broken, angry flesh. React with the massive divine weapons I have specifically assigned to you. Wear my armor proudly, walk with unshakable confidence, and entirely dominate the spiritual territory I have firmly given you today. As you boldly walk forward from this sacred, life-changing moment of profound, complete forgiveness, I need you to know with absolute, unshakable certainty that you absolutely do not walk alone. I see the difficult times when you sit entirely by yourself in your parked car, tightly gripping the steering wheel, completely dreading walking into an empty house or a highly stressful workplace. You feel a cold, terrifying, crushing isolation wrapping tightly around your throat. I command you to violently reject the heavy lie of loneliness right this very second. I am intimately, permanently, and fiercely with you always, even on to the very end of the age. I give you my solemn, unbreakable, ironclad promise. I will never, ever leave you, and I will absolutely never forsake you. Flawed people in your life have walked away when things got difficult, but I am absolutely not them. I do not abandon my precious children in the dark. When you inevitably pass through the deep, terrifying, freezing waters of intense adversity, I will be standing right beside you to keep you from completely drowning. I know you are currently looking at a massive mountain of unpaid bills, a highly confusing medical diagnosis, or a deeply fractured relationship, and you feel like the rushing water is already up to your neck. You are gasping for air, absolutely terrified that the next wave will pull you under permanently. I command you to reach out your hand right now. I am holding you firmly and securely. The dark water will absolutely not sweep you away. I completely control the massive tides, and I command the massive waves to stop entirely at my decree. When you are forced to walk straight through the blazing, excruciating, hot fires of severe temptation and heavy trial, the hot flames will absolutely not consume you. The angry world will fiercely try to burn down your integrity, your hard-earned peace, and your profound joy. But remember the ancient, powerful story. I am the fourth man in the fire. I step directly into the roaring, terrifying furnace right alongside you. The fire will only burn away the heavy ropes that are currently binding you. It will absolutely not singe a single hair on your head. You will walk completely out of this current crisis without even the faint, lingering smell of smoke on your clothes. I invite you to heavily and completely lean your exhausted weight on my strong, everlasting arms when you are feeling incredibly weak. You have desperately tried to carry the heavy, crushing burdens of your entire family, your friends, and your own failing plans on your fragile human shoulders. You are entirely, completely exhausted. Stop trying to be the strong one all the time. I am your unshakable rock, your impenetrable fortress, and your absolute, fierce deliverer. Let me completely carry the heavy load today. My constant, burning, undeniable presence in your daily life is your ultimate guarantee, the solid, undeniably real down payment of the magnificent, eternal glory that securely awaits you. I want you to actively practice feeling my strong presence today. When you sit quietly at your desk, when you fold your laundry, when you drive down the busy highway, speak directly to me. I am right there in the passenger seat. I am right there in the quiet room. You are deeply loved, powerfully protected, and permanently accompanied by the absolute creator of the universe. Breathe deeply, relax your tight shoulders, and walk confidently into your day knowing I am actively guarding your every single step. My profoundly beloved child, the final, unchangeable, absolute verdict has been officially rendered in the highest court of heaven. The heavy, wooden gavel has fallen with a resounding, undeniable crash, and I declare to you today that you are entirely, completely, and permanently innocent. All the dark, ugly charges against you have been thoroughly and legally dismissed. The crushing, massive debt you owed has been completely paid in full by the precious, flowing, unstoppable blood of my Son. I command you to immediately stop living your daily life like a desperate, terrified fugitive constantly looking over your shoulder waiting to be punished. You are a completely free, highly honored citizen of my kingdom. I invite you to let my thick, supernatural peace, a profound peace that completely transcends all of your limited human logic and anxious understanding, stand as a fierce, heavily armed guard over your fragile heart and your racing, exhausted mind. You are unconditionally, fiercely, and eternally loved by the absolute creator of the burning stars and the roaring seas. I want you to stop right now, exactly wherever you are. Whether you are holding your phone on a crowded, noisy train, sitting quietly in your living room, or taking a quick break at a stressful, demanding job, I command you to take one massive, deep breath. Fill your lungs completely. And now, exhale slowly, and as you breathe out, let the staggering, brilliant, shocking reality of my total forgiveness wash over your tired spirit one final time. Feel the tight, physical tension literally leaving your neck and your aching shoulders. The heavy, suffocating, crushing burdens you carried when you started reading this are completely, totally gone. The rusted, heavy, miserable chains that held you back from your true potential are entirely broken, permanently smashed into a million pieces on the floor. Look straight ahead of you. The heavy iron door to your brand new, beautiful life is not just unlocked. It is standing completely, invitingly wide open. You absolutely do not have to peek nervously around the corner anymore. You absolutely do not have to quietly apologize for taking up space and existing. I have literally, powerfully cleared the entire path directly in front of you. I see the genuine, hopeful, hot tear forming in the corner of your eye. Let it fall completely. It is a highly holy tear of profound, massive relief and total, beautiful surrender. I invite you to step confidently and boldly through that open door today. Leave the bitter regrets, the agonizing what-ifs, and the dark, heavy, toxic shame permanently locked securely behind you in the past. Go forth right now in absolute, unapologetic, glorious freedom. Walk boldly and brightly in my blinding light, and let your newly restored life be a massive, undeniable, glowing beacon of hope to every broken, hurting person you encounter today. Keep your head held incredibly, proudly high. Smile at your future because I am already standing firmly there waiting for you. And when the dark, familiar, Lying whispers try to return tonight. When the enemy tries to quietly remind you of your old, permanently buried mistakes, I want you to immediately remember this exact conversation. I want you to hear my strong, comforting, fatherly voice echoing loudly and clearly in your soul, violently shutting down every single lie. Remember always, my precious, totally chosen child, I clearly see you, I intimately know you entirely, I deeply and fiercely love you, and I completely, unconditionally forgive you. Now, go and passionately live the beautiful, victorious, unshakable life I have eternally destined for you. You have now walked completely out of the suffocating, cold tomb of your past, and as you breathe the pure air of my total forgiveness, I am strongly calling you to help roll away the heavy stones for others. Millions of my children are still bleeding from the brutal, self-inflicted wounds of guilt, and the time is incredibly short to deliver this exact, life-saving verdict of grace to their starving spirits. I am asking you directly to join your hands with mine today, using your newly found freedom to generously finance the massive, global delivery of my liberating word. Cast your bread upon these rushing, powerful waters, for I absolutely assure you it will return to you after many days, carrying a massive, undeniable harvest of completely rescued souls. For every single seed you plant to expand my kingdom's reach, I will unlock the heavy floodgates of heaven, pouring out an overwhelming, fierce favor that completely obliterates your lack and establishes generational blessings in your bloodline. Rise up right now as a bold warrior of my grace. Send your powerful support through a super thanks, a channel membership, or the PayPal link below, and help me ignite a blazing fire of revival across this dark world. Amen.